Years ago on the planet Earth, two brothers started watching Transformers media, and now they are going to make it your problem. Hi, I'm Hayden.
And I'm Frankie.
And welcome to BroBots in Disguise, where we are going through and discussing every episode of every major Transformers cartoon.
Until it kills us.
Until it kills us. It may
Which
very
may
well
be this episode.
Until every major
I find your lack of
Transformer enthusiasm disturbing.
Welcome back to season 2 of Robots in Disguise. BroBots in Disguise.
Robots.
Does the first Robots in Disguise even have multiple seasons, or is it just one continuous season?
As in the
2001.
The 2001 one? That's just one, isn't it?
I think it is just one.
Yeah.
Like it's like 50 episodes, but it's just one season, right?
Like don't come at us, but that's the one that we haven't seen that much of.
Yeah, because they won't put it out on DVD. Oh yeah, we're discussing season 2 of the original Transformers animated series released in 1985, and largely following the episode order for season 2 on TF Wiki, with a few minor adjustments for continuity, as you will see in this and our next episode, because the Combaticons can't exist before the Combaticons are created. That's an interesting thing about this season. As I discussed in our last episode, this is part of like season 2.5, right? And this one actually reintroduces continuity to Transformers season 2.
Weirdly enough.
Because largely season 2 you can watch in whatever order you want.
Yeah.
As long as the episodes that like directly follow a previous episode, you watch it directly after the previous episode, right?
Yeah.
But
this one is actually like, well, you can't watch the Revenge of Bruticus.
Because we actually see the creation of character, you know, in our previous episode with the creation of the Aerial Bots and the Stunticons. Any episode that features them has to come after that episode. Yeah. And with the Combaticons also, right? You know? So
but what episodes are we actually
today's
watching?
episodes we are discussing Autobots race against the Stunticons for a magic weather ball in Trans-Europe Express. The Aerial Bots help the Autobots fight against robot AIDS and cosmic rust. No joke, that's what inspired that episode.
Straight up?
Is one of the inspirations for that episode was the 80s AIDS crisis.
Holy smokes! I had no idea.
At least that's what it says on TF
I was
Wiki.
Like, look, we might need to get rid of this tagline and stuff, but like, oh my gosh, it actually is.
But as we'll discuss when we get to that episode, it hits more. It hits harder after going through COVID-19. You know, it feels more like that. It feels more predictive of that. Anyway, Starscream wants his own combiner team in Starscream's Brigade, and the Combaticons send the Earth flying into the sun in The Revenge of Bruticus. These are the original Combiner Wars.
And kind of better. At the time of this recording, these Transformers episodes are available on Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel, where I watch them, as well as on DVD, where I'm sure you watch them.
Yep.
And several other streaming services such as Tubi and Pluto. Not sponsored, haven't been sponsored, possibly never will be sponsored, but who knows?
All right, and with that, let's get into our episodes.
First up, Trans-Europe Express. Our synopsis for this one is Megatron organizes a race. Megatron organizes a race from Paris to Istanbul to lure out Simultech's new car so he can use it to make a new housing for an ancient Cybertronian weather machine core he is digging up near Istanbul. But the Autobots join the race and work with the driver Augie Kane to save the day.
So yeah, this is basically an episode of Speed Racer.
Yes.
Like the classic Speed Racer show.
It finally clicked in my head at one point. I think it's when Augie gets cornered by the Stunticons.
Yes.
And for some reason, that was when it finally clicked in my head. Oh my gosh, this is a Speed Racer episode.
I love it. I mean, we've been talking for several episodes that it's great whenever the Autobots, as turning into Earth cars, interact with Earth car culture, right?
Exactly.
So it's just great to see them in a race here, you know?
It is weird that it is only just now happening.
It is.
But it makes sense because
now we
it's
have-
the first time that we have Decepticon cars.
Yeah. And I love that the Stunticons, are like the villain cars in this.
Yes.
And like you pointed out, they really drive like they're indestructible.
Yes. But yeah, the first scene though is such a like jump into the scene with like, well, one, it's just really funny to me that Megatron and Soundwave are hiding in a tent in an Istanbul market.
Also, Istanbul, we get another real world city.
Yes.
And also Paris. And map travel. Like Indiana Jones style map travel.
Kind of really inconsistent map travel.
Oh my goodness, that distorted Europe. France is huge.
Look, I am willing to chalk this up to
maybe that's just how it is in this world. Like somehow France took over more land and became a superpower in the wake of the Insecticon plague of 1800 or whatever.
My idea was so much dumber. I was thinking like, look, it's because of the ultimate doom, and that the gravity just warped the lines of the continents, and then I realized, wait a minute, that's not how continents work.
I mean, it is. I mean, like plate tectonics and moving stuff around, I suppose.
But it's never that cut and dry as it is on the maps.
Since when does the science in Transformers line up with real world science perfectly?
Exactly.
It's inspired by real world science. This map is vaguely inspired by real world. Also, apparently, I looked it up on Google Maps. Today, you can make the drive from Paris to Istanbul in only 1,700 miles.
Wow.
But maybe the roads were different back then, so that it was 2,000 miles or something like that. Also, I'm surprised that it is 2,000 miles and not however many kilometers.
Yeah. Well, it might be kilometers. I don't know. European.
It's because Megatron's from America.
Yeah. Megatron runs on that Cybertronian system.
I love how I love his plan where instead of just just invading Simultech and stealing their materials, he lures out the car with a race.
Okay, so the Autobots imply that they were just now assigned to kind of be like unofficial bodyguards to this race.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, this engine is so advanced, the Decepticons are probably going to want to go after it.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and be in the race just to like keep an eye on things. But like, okay, does this imply that they have been kind of like shadow guarding this guy's car for a while to the point where Megatron is like, I can't just go get it. I gotta lure the car out into a race.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I was gonna say, do you think Simultech is also somehow involved in, because we've had hybrid technologies before, and now we got Simultech, and the way Wheeljack talks about it, it sounds like it's
a weird metal.
Yeah, it is Earth technology that has advanced super far. But do you think that maybe they are also integrating Cybertronian technology?
I think it's literally just a blend of Cybertronian.
It's what they've learned from. Yeah. So it's interesting to. You got simultaneous technology, hybrid or high tech hybrid technologies corporation. These companies with the idea of two things going at the same time.
Yeah,
I feel like in the world, and maybe this is how France became a superpower and bought up more of Europe, is that they are. The leading people in taking Cybertronian technology and blending it with Earth technology to make all this new stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I like the one thing about this episode that I think kind of put me off as a kid is that there's just so much stuff going on in this episode that it's kind of hard to keep track of.
Yeah. Like we start out with a seer in like. Is he sealed in that room, or do you think he has a door somewhere?
He's very ascetic or aesthetic.
Aesthetic.
Yeah.
Aesthetic.
Not aesthetic. Aesthetic.
Do you think he counts as magic? Do you think he can actually see the future? And do you think he sees the future of what's going to happen in this episode, and that's why he tells them, is because he knows it's all going to work out and be okay?
I think it's the same sort of magic that we see in like a Decepticon Raider in King Arthur's Court, where it's like, could it be tech? Maybe. There's no precedent for it being tech. So
Well, yeah, no, I don't think it's tech. It's inspired by, in and I'm not an expert, so take everything with a grain of salt, but there is, Islamic seers and stuff like that.
well, yeah,
in the real world, right?
One person
like it's
says,
part of the religious.
I swear by the beard of the prophet.
Right, which also like,
We are acknowledging real world deities.
Islam exists in the world of the Transformers.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of religious
Muhammad
knowledge.
at least is a historical figure in this world. But I really like this episode's blending of mythology and technology. Like the idea of the Pearl of Bahudin being a like human trappings enveloping an alien technology. Human mythology building up around this thing.
Right.
There is an actual technological explanation, but it's been wrapped up by millions of years of, just sitting around on Earth.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like happened with the Insecticons as well, and this
always
is a
liked
theme
this.
that we'll see throughout Transformers as a franchise quite a bit. It's sort of that Ancient Aliens thing,
the Forerunner
Stargate,
sort of thing.
Sort of thing, but it's just a fun, idea and thought experiment.
But like it's weird how we don't get all of this information up front. It all kind of plays out as like a little mystery sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is neat. We see what the Decepticons are getting up to, but not really why for a while. Like, why is the Pearl so important? And it feels like the Pearl and the race are so disconnected at first.
Yeah.
But then, like, the little cross-section that happens, and it was kind of a weird moment where I looked at it and was like, I see what you're doing, script. I see what's going on here. That's pretty good.
Yeah. No, like I said, it's a Speed Racer episode.
And even Augie as a character, the role that he plays, where he's just belligerent.
He's just the worst. I love how horrible.
I love Augie Kane so much.
I love how even in an American TV show, the trope of the American who goes to blank foreign country is just a jerk.
Yes.
It even persists in an American TV show.
But like, I think he's one of the first instances of a character who actively dislikes Cybertronians and stays that way by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, we get a lot who, are like, I don't trust these robots and stuff. And then it's like, well, I guess you're not so bad. But then at this one, he has a good reason for disliking them. It's kind of like the AI is going to take our job sort of thing.
Job. Yeah.
But it's like they're robot brains. They don't know how to race. It'll never replace a real driver.
Well, what's really funny to me about that is when he gets in Blue Streak and starts driving, he's like, let me show you how a real driver races. They just show the same footage from when Blue Streak was driving.
I'm going to drive in a straight line. But I love that he's not really going along with them because it's the right thing to do. It's that he does do that at the end, but he's just doing it because he's selfish.
Yeah. He's just mad that the Decepticons tried to take his car.
Yeah. And then, I love that his arc is that he does actually do the right thing by handing over the Pearl.
Yeah.
Or the Pearl's casing, which I guess wasn't destroyed. But anyway, he hands over...
Well, B splits it in half.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, like he hands it over and then they're like, thanks, Augie. And he just waltzes off into the sunset as grumpily as he arrived.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. Another one-off character. I can't even really call him a character, but Professor Terra Nova.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty goofy looking. Is he the same professor that Perceptor's talking to in the next episode?
That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Definitely not, but
yeah,
he's probably on the same board.
Right. But I think it's funny that the Decepticons have to steal a professor when... Why can't they just use Scavenger's nose like in previous episodes?
Yeah. Well, Scavenger is even digging the hole, too.
Yeah.
It's like, we cannot get through this solid rock that we have definitely scanned through before.
Right. But maybe the casing around it also like helps hide it somehow. Speaking of the Pearl of Bahudin,
Yes.
we see in the flashbacks a Decepticon, Megatron. I love Megatron just starts monologuing as soon as
It's
the
actually
Autobots show
needed
up.
in this episode.
Yeah,
By
yeah,
the time
it
that he
is.
starts monologuing, it's like, oh no, this is actually relevant information
it's
that
the
we
big
need as an
reveal.
audience.
Right. It's the big reveal. But in the flashback, we see a Decepticon ship that looks just like the Nemesis. So it could be. Do you think that it is the Nemesis that when the Decepticons attack the Autobot ship in episode 1,
Yeah.
do you think the Nemesis had both the Pearl of Bahudin and the Heart of Cybertron on it at the same time?
Yeah.
Because when it crashes, it looks like it crashes in some sort of jungle, which is where it ends up in that
'cause
previous episode.
That's the episode in Microbots.
Microbots,
That
yeah,
is the original Nemesis, right?
Right, that is supposedly
Okay.
the original
'Cause
Nemesis.
that was my
Which
theory.
got moved because, okay, so it doesn't line up with Beast Wars canon where it originally crashed in the ocean, got picked up, and then crashed in the Amazon, or not Amazon, wherever it was in Microbots
Yeah.
later. But in here, it just shows it crashing into that mountainside
Right.
where it's found later in
But
Microbots.
again, Beast Wars is retroactive continuity.
Right.
But
right.
even then, like, Beast Wars still lines up because it's like continent shift and everything like that.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I really like the idea of
So
this thing.
Do you think it was the Nemesis, or do you think it was a different
I would
Decepticon
think so
ship?
because it's like we have the Nemesis, which has the heart of Cybertron, a weird energy source of
Right.
some kind, and then it makes sense that they would also have a weird device that's like an energy core for a weather controlling machine and stuff like that.
Right.
That's
But if it did crash in South America, how did the Pearl get into Europe?
well, just thousands of years of it being picked up, moved around, and people holding on to it for a long time, and then like moving across the country, and then
But he
someone gets
specifically says that it
stolen
was
and
a
everything.
Persian seer. So really, it's in Asia. A Persian seer is the one who encases it in the gold ball with all the gems.
Yeah.
So you think it made its way from South America all the way to Asia?
Probably. It might have just been like stuck in a rock or
I
something
think
like
maybe
that.
it fell. If it is the Nemesis and not a different Decepticon ship that is also in Asia somewhere, which is also very interesting to think about. Maybe it just fell out of the ship when it
because it was
entered
like
orbit.
they show in the flashback that it's like it's breaking
wobbles,
apart as
yeah.
it's and falling all over the place. So
Right.
it probably just scattered.
Yeah. That would make more sense if it just fell out and ended up in Asia somewhere.
Either way, time makes stuff move around a lot. So
Yeah. And it is the 1300s by the time that it's found.
yeah.
But why do you think they had a weather device on Cybertron? Were they planning to use it as a weapon on other planets?
Well, if you think about it, it could also just be a humanitarian effort in that Cybertron doesn't have an atmosphere. Maybe they were running low on an energy crisis, saw that other planets had weather systems, and figured if we generate a weather system that we can then make a bunch of generators for, it would be the source of Megatron's fascination with hydroelectric power.
Yeah. Or maybe it was to control the acid rainstorms that they have there, because that's the
That could be.
that's the only weather we've ever seen on Cybertron
Right.
in season 1 and 2. It's the acid rainstorms from Divide and Conquer, I want to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see.
do you think the Persian seer was named Bahudin, or do you think Bahudin is the place that it was picked up?
I don't know. Give me a second.
I already checked TF Wiki. It doesn't say.
I was going to look up the name itself, see if it meant
okay.
anything.
Sure.
But
Also, the Megatron's imagination of wreaking havoc on Earth with the Pearl.
that's pretty cool.
The clip that it shows of him laughing over it reminds me a lot of the opening scene, the opening intro of Future Boy Conan.
Yes. Oh, man. That's a good one. So here's what I found is that there's Bahauddin. Forgive me if I'm butchering this, but it's spelled differently. It's Bahauddin. Is a male Arabic name meaning glory of the faith or splendor of the religion.
Cool.
So it could just be a name for the thing.
Yeah.
Look at this thing. It make big wind. Splendor of the religion.
Yeah.
Magic orb go.
Yep. So a couple other notes that I wanted to mention about this episode is that Sideswipe and Sunstreaker maybe died in Yugoslavia. Also, this definitely takes place in the 80s because I don't think Yugoslavia is a thing anymore.
Do they show back up?
No, they don't show back up.
What?
Well, what's weird is they're not at the beginning of the episode either.
Oh.
They just show up in the middle of the race and then get killed by the Stunicons. All
Which
the others
also-
make it to Turkey before they get picked off. I think Wheeljack
also takes like a massive hit.
yeah,
like,
but he does that cartoon thing where they go, "Ow,"
Yeah.
to tell you that they're still alive.
That's true. It's the Western equivalent of "It's okay, I can see their parachutes."
Right. The cross-country race, do you think that they had a predetermined course or were they allowed to plot their own travel? Because it seems like they're split up on different roads at some point, or are they just that far ahead of each
I think
other?
it's just that they're that far ahead, but we'd never see any sort of track like things
Right.
like distinguishers
Yeah.
of like this is the track that you're supposed to go on or anything like that. So it could be.
The
It
Autobots
it
join...
actually weirdly lines up more with the concept of Megatron being the one to organize the race.
Yeah.
If it's just like a shoddily put together thing.
Yeah.
Which is just such a funny thing to think about where they're like, so obviously Megatron rigged the race so that he could get Augie's car out in the open. I'm sorry. The idea of Megatron hooking up with like sponsors, like getting a bunch of sponsors and funds together, making a whole like marketing PR team, getting a bunch of racers together and stuff.
This is more elaborate than Megatron's master plan.
It's so detailed.
He found another
the amount
burger.
of logistics this man has to do to get a 2,000-mile race organized.
Right. So it makes
is
me think
insane.
that Simultech must be in France, even though they have an American driver.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I would actually love to see something with like Megatron having a corporate front of some kind.
Yeah. Kind of like Cobra Commander's Smallville, or not Smallville. The same Springfield.
Springfield.
Right? Same place that The Simpsons takes place in.
Yeah, Springfield's anywhere Missouri.
Yeah. Anyway,
somewhere in Missouri.
right. Oh yeah. He must have found a French burger.
Yes.
Le burger.
Le burger.
Speaking of Augie, I think I just want to point out that the blowtorch that Augie uses on Schlappa is the one that this was the first time I noticed it, because I've always wondered, where does he get that from?
Yeah.
I think Scrapper actually brings it to take apart the car. He's going to dismantle the car with it, because this is the first time I noticed he's carrying something. But I'm surprised that Megatron didn't already have a machine built that he just needed to plug the car into and then plug the Pearl into the car.
Yeah.
Apparently he was going to do all of the construction once the car showed up. Unless he's going to convert the car itself and then just... I don't know. It's just funny.
It's bizarre. But the thing that I like a lot about this, even though it doesn't get a lot of screen time, is that the Stunicons being in the race along with the Autobots, like...
It would have been funnier if they started at the beginning of the race.
Yes. That would have been so good to have, like... See, I think this episode could have been broken up into two. You have the Pearl of Bahudin section, and you could even have these completely separate from each other.
Yeah.
I think the race idea is a lot stronger than the Pearl of Bahudin. I do like the idea of that, and that it's all tied together.
Right.
But I wanted more moments for this episode to have between Stunicons and Autobots being in a race, but still having to navigate around like cars and stuff like that.
Yeah. Trying to kill each other in disguise.
Yeah, and if this was a setting where the Autobots are still in disguise, that would be so cool. Having them like, in robot form when the cameras are off and stuff, like duking it out, but still having to like race the race and everything. Kind of like Speed Racer, where it's the Casa Cristo rally,
right?
And they're having to do all of this like crime shenanigans in between, the actual like rally race and stuff.
Have you ever watched Transformers Prime?
Well, yeah, that's true.
There is an episode that does exactly that.
That is, in fact, true.
Except they're not racing.
They are street racing.
The difference is that that episode, they're doing street race. Oh, there's also an animated episode with street racing.
Yes, there is.
But the difference is both of those are just Bumblebee being reckless, and then a Decepticon shows up.
Right. This is a fully organized...
No, I'm sorry. The animated one, there's a remote-controlled car that may or may not be Blur, and I'm still not sure. When I was a kid, I was so unsure. Is it Blur? Is it Blur? Is it Blur? Because I've seen the toy. He never transforms in the episode. I hate that when there's an episode of Armada where a character shows up and he's in car mode for most of the episode, and they're like, oh, it's a big reveal that it's gonna be a character, and then he transforms and he's the exact same thing as in the flashback. And it's like, I don't know, it's badly paced episodes. Anyway, so the difference is that there is like a major goal and a conspiracy going on, a big conspiracy going on in the background of this race,
right,
that kind of keeps a secondary plot going. Whereas those other ones is just, here's a race.
Yeah.
Now we're done with the race. Now we're going to have a Transformer battle.
Yeah. I think what I would have liked from this one is like build out the mystery more and make it a two-parter. Like, I think there's enough room for this to be a two-parter.
Okay. I thought you meant just make them two separate episodes that are not connected.
Yeah, I was like either or, but I think it's stronger if you make this a two-parter.
Right.
But all in all, I think it's really good.
Yeah. Also, Bumblebee's got guts in this episode.
He actually has a really cool moment to shine.
Yeah. I like the part where the Autobots are like, "Man, we were wrong about you, Augie," and then they're like, "Isn't that right, Bumblebee?" And then Bumblebee's just like,
"It's like I gotta save the world."
Yeah, because instead of admitting, "Yeah, I was wrong about you too," he's just like, "Nope, I still got stuff to do."
No time.
Right. But yeah, it's a crazy neat fight with like the weather going wild, and then Minosaur, who is like actually almost in correct scale.
Yeah.
Being this giant menace.
I like
a
the
little bit
set
of redemption
pieces
for
of this
Augie.
episode a lot.
The set pieces are pretty cool. I like this episode. It's one of those episodes where I'm like, oh yeah, it's that episode, and then once I watch it, I'm like, hey, that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I
discount this one a lot, but it's a solid one.
I like the joke at the end where the announcer's left all by himself, waiting all day long.
The running gag of the announcer is so good.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm sure they'll be back soon.
Eventually.
Someday.
Yeah, and they just never go back.
Anybody want to order some dinner?
But the also, it's kind of nice to see the some of the season 1 Autobots again.
Yeah, this is kind of like their last hurrah for a couple of them.
Actually, I've been surprised. I always think of, once you get to season 2.5, oh, it's all combiners, it's all late season 2 characters and stuff like that. But no, I'm surprised. There's a lot of season 1 characters who still pop up right to the last episode.
Yeah.
Even in Bot, you still got Ironhide, Gears, and another guy.
The other guy.
Anyway. Anything else you want to say?
No, it's just a good, solid, all-around episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like your note about did Dr. Terranova die during the storm? Because he's never seen
after the storm goes off. He's there. He's there for sure. Yeah. But then after the storm is like completely finished and everything, we don't see a sign of him. Nobody asks about him. Nobody wonders where he is. I think he died. Or at least Bumblebee, he dives, they're in like a canyon, and he goes into the tornado, and then when he finally destroys the Pearl, the storm dissipates and he's over a rainforest.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
So maybe he just got flung to some far corner of the world.
And how come those trees weren't all beat up by the storm?
Exactly.
Anyway, fun episode. Don't think about it too hard.
On to the next one.
We'll take a short break and come back with the next episode. And we are back with Cosmic Rust. After finding a heat ray on an ancient Autobot ghost colony, Megatron contracts the deadly Cosmic Rust plague. He kidnaps Perceptor to heal him with the conveniently timed Corostop formula and then infects the Autobots. The Autobots get a sample of Corostop from the recently coated Statue of Liberty, and Superion destroys the heat ray. So this is kind of another one of Starscream's bizarre adventures, or at least it kind of starts out that way. I think this is the last of the New York episodes. I'm not sure. I can't remember if they go back in season 3, but I think this is the last New York episode.
I feel like there's another New York one somewhere.
Also, this may be the last appearance of Sparkplug.
Oh
After
my
this,
goodness.
He dies. No, I'm kidding.
And then he died.
From Cosmic Rust.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, no, he's...
I'm going to be honest, I forgot he was in this
No.
episode.
For one shot, Spike, Carly, and Sparkplug are in this episode watching Perceptor get his award, and then that's it.
They're
And
supportive friends.
I think Spike comes back in by the end of this, the episodes we're talking about today. I think Carly comes back, but I'm pretty sure this is the last time we see Sparkplug.
Dang. Poor guy.
Yeah. Anyway. This episode hits different after going through COVID. Because
it hits very different after realizing that this was supposed to be a direct analog to the AIDS epidemic.
It's not a direct analog. It was inspired. The writers saw what was going on and were like, what if we made the Transformers get sick by an incurable disease? Because at that time it was incurable. So
now, granted, this episode has had
it is
a
obviously
massive...
not transmitted in any of the same ways.
But this one had a massive impact on Transformers biology going forward.
Yes.
In that this is the first time that a Transformers-specific disease has ever been introduced. Yeah. And they've adapted this numerous times in the future. Like, Transformers Prime was a pretty significant one. That was Cosmic Rust, right?
Yes, Transformers Prime had an episode with Cosmic Rust in it. The Dark of the Moon had
the Rust gun.
Sentinel Prime had a Cosmic Rust gun. I think Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime gets killed by Cosmic Rust in Transformers Animated.
Oh,
I think it shows up somewhere in the Unicron trilogy, but don't quote me on that.
All over IDW.
It's all over IDW. I think it's mentioned in either Beast Wars or Beast Machines.
Yeah, it's kind of the general.
Yeah, whenever
disease.
they need a plague to break out, they
and it's interesting
put
how
in Cosmic Rust.
Yeah, it's basically leprosy. Like
it's much more akin to leprosy.
It's leprosy mixed with a degenerative muscle disease sort of thing.
Right.
But where did they get this Cosmic Rust? From Autobot Colony Antilla.
Yeah, which is built in the shape of an Autobot logo, and I think that is lovely.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I think
that you can see from space.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Now, I love the subtle storytelling with this. They don't draw a lot of attention to it.
Yes.
But when the Decepticons land, number one, it feels very alien. Like, Alien the franchise.
Yeah, where they land on a deserted planet and there's this ancient technology, alien
It's
stuff. Like a ghost town. It's kind of like a plague town that you might find in like
the Wild West or something.
Yeah, either the Wild West or, a medieval or a pirate story or something like that, where like they put into dock at an abandoned seaside town or something like that because everybody died from scurvy. I don't know.
But yeah, I love that they do this kind of slowly unraveling history of this place.
Yes.
And we'll get like the full story of it from Teletran later in the episode, but just like the Decepticons landing on this colony thinking, oh man, this is going to be easy. We're going to cause some havoc and stuff, and then just having nothing. There's also a giant ancient Autobot language.
Yeah, this is like the first time we see... Well, there's that one episode in season 1 where there's a lot of scribbles on Teletran 1, but
yes,
it's just scribbles.
But this is specifically
This is an actual, like... This looks like the prototype for... It might not mean anything, but it looks like the prototype for what we eventually got during, like, the live-action movies as the written...
Yeah.
Or actually, it might have been during the Unicron trilogy. No, actually, Beast Wars, I think, introduced a language.
Yes, they did.
But I think that one looks different than the one that we got later on, which looks more similar to this.
Regardless, this is the first time that we've had a language specific to the Autobots.
Yes.
And I also like that this feels very in line with the Decepticon colony that we saw in the Sea Spray episode with the mermaids.
Yeah.
Where it feels like, they did the same thing. They just spread out over the galaxy.
Yeah.
But what's so cool about this is that the giant Autobot symbol, it's very funny.
Yeah.
But when you touch down and start seeing what happened to this town, and the Decepticons see this cryptic, diseased message, warning them and stuff, you get the sense that this used to be like, oh, we'll project the Autobot symbol as a giant light so that fellow Autobot refugees can come and, land here.
Yeah.
But then as Cosmic Rust ravaged this place, it started turning into a warning light.
Yeah.
Of this is an Autobot colony. Yeah. Stay away from this colony.
Right. Plague, stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention that, number one, I like the Old One's poem.
Yes. It's like, you know what? You didn't have to make it rhyme, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice. I find it ironic that the Starscream says we can't read ancient Autobot, implying that they have had language changes. Because in War Dawn, they go back 5 million years, 9 million years in the future. 9 million years in the past.
Yes.
And they can understand the aerial bots who were born yesterday, literally.
Yeah.
Can understand what Transformer speech sounded like 9 million years ago.
Yeah.
So at first I thought, oh, well, then we just don't, the language doesn't change.
Yeah.
But here, apparently, it does change because they can't read it. So either this is the Antilla colony was well before the Great War, it is sometime in ancient times before the language changed to whatever it has been for the last 9 million years.
Yeah.
Or their universal translators that we've speculated about in other episodes only work auditory. They don't work on written word.
That would make sense because visual information is way different than auditory information.
Plus, in the episode Forever is a Long Time Coming, when, spoiler alert, young, sexy Alpha Trion is transported to the future.
Tom Selleck Alpha Trion.
Yeah, when he's transported to the future, he and the Autobots of 2010, 2006, or whenever it is, can perfectly understand each other.
Yeah.
So, like, language didn't change then either. So, like, maybe it is just an auditory thing or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting little continuity note.
It's bizarre to think about.
Right.
But
I like thinking about, sort of language,
weird
and
implications,
cultures and world building that way.
Yeah. Because that's how actual, life is. Like, that's how history went.
Right.
It was, nothing was cut and dry. It was all just this big amorphous blob of culture and language and history.
Yeah. And
all just mashing against each other.
And it's interesting, Teletran 1 calls it the 13th Legion, which is known as the Lost Legion, and also, nowadays we have the 13 Primes, so there's another reason to suspect that maybe it was something ancient.
Yeah.
The 13th Legion.
Yeah, and also 13 just being an unlucky number. It's
that
good,
too, yeah.
It's a good number choice for this place specifically.
Right,
right.
And what happened to them?
Yeah. I love that the weird lightning bug thing is never explained. It's just a death ray from an alien society that we have no idea who made it, why they made it, where'd they go, did they create cosmic rust or whatever, since it seems that the energy that the lightning bug has seems to like ramp up the spread of cosmic rust.
Yes.
It's never explained, and it feels so alien.
Yeah,
and I love that.
And here's the thing. Starscream immediately identifies it as a lightning bug. So apparently it is common enough that he's aware of it as some sort of weapon, but Astrotrain talks as if he's never heard of it, and he refers to, it being a lightning bug. He'd hate to see what a dragonfly looks like, presumably referring to the comparison of Earth's lightning bug and Earth's dragonflies, right? And it does vaguely look like an Earth lightning bug, but it's a little bit different. So it has some sort of like lightning power. Megatron immediately goes for the ironic use because he assumes that the Autobots created it and now it's going to be used to destroy them. And then ironically, it proves to be his undoing, and it possibly was the undoing of the whole Antilla colony. This kind of fits into one of those, the pride of man unleashes horrors that we can't comprehend sort of thing. Hubris. Hubris. So it implies that the Autobots of the Antilla colony, the 13th Legion, either captured this thing or created it, and then it was their undoing with the Cosmic Rust Plague. It ended up spreading the Cosmic Rust Plague. Right. Also, so I wonder why they had this weapon. Like you said, did they capture it from a different alien group that they maybe conquered their land and took their heat
That's what
ray?
I always assumed it was some alien artifact.
Yeah. Or did they create it to defend themselves from the asteroids? Because Teletran 1 identifies the asteroids as spreading the plague. And then the asteroid, when
it moves after them.
moves on its own.
Yeah.
When it starts chasing Astrotrain and crashes into them, it moves on its own. So it's possible that they do you remember that episode of Star Wars Clone Wars where there was that like defensive field set up around that? It was an asteroid field, but it had all these lasers that shot from the asteroids that would keep people trapped on that planet.
Mystery of a Thousand Moons
That's
or something
the one.
like that.
Yeah. I feel like the 13th Legion suffered a similar fate to that planet. Is that these asteroids were put there on purpose. I'm thinking Cosmic Rust was bioengineered to specifically attack Transformers, because Megatron says we're rust proof. And in other shows, he says we're immune to disease. Other episodes, Transformers have said they are immune to diseases, right? So because they're made of metal, and they're also rust proof. So I'm wondering if this was bioengineered to attack Transformers, maybe by the Quintessons.
They do. When we see them under the petri dish, the Cosmic Rust cells.
Ew, they're so gross.
Ew, they got like eyeballs on them.
Yeah.
But they are the distinct green and silver color scheme of Quintesson related things. Yeah, similar to the giant creature that was hatching in that asteroid clump in Secret of Omega Supreme.
As we've established, purple is Decepticon's color.
Yeah.
Orange is Autobot color. Green is anything ancient.
Yes.
Alpha Trion.
Quintessons.
The weird asteroid in the next episode. Anyway.
The goo asteroid.
Right. But yeah, so it's just a lot of interesting stuff to think about, lore-wise.
And I like that they don't try to explain all of it.
Yeah, they don't over-explain it. They leave a lot of mystery, which is good because then we can theorize about it, and we have a reason to do this podcast.
These little breadcrumbs, these little...
I love that Perceptor compares Cosmic Rust to the Black Plague, even though that should have no meaning at all to Megatron.
Yeah. Well, big thing about Perceptor in this episode is that, I love that he's part of the scientific community at this point.
Yeah.
He's just being treated as another scientist.
Yeah.
He basically got the Nobel Peace Prize.
AI's taking their jobs too.
Exactly. But I love how humble he is about it. He's not doing this for glory. It's that this beginning of this episode sets him up as he purely values scientific exploration.
Yes.
It doesn't matter with who. Doesn't matter if it's with Autobots or Cybertronians. He just cares about the progress of science.
Yeah.
Which is directly challenged when he gets captured and forced to operate on Megatron, which
Yeah.
I love. I love this dynamic so much. A villain who is laid low by something he cannot solve, and the
Yes.
only person who can solve it is one of his nemesis.
Yes.
And it's a delicious character dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But like when Megatron is infected,
He's such a baby.
he's such a crybaby.
It's both presented as scary and so funny.
Yes.
So silly.
It's presented as funny when him and Starscream, well, he's having Starscream operate on him.
yeah,
Which is really funny.
Yeah, because
Um,
Starscream's like, oh, too bad. The operation was a success.
Yeah.
but he also mentions the repair bay, which I didn't really know that. You assume that they have a repair bay, but actually
Yeah.
hearing somebody mention it, we never see it, and I wonder who runs the repair bay.
Right.
That's what I love about. Going back to Transformers Prime, I love that, Knockout runs
He's the
repair.
designated
Yeah.
medic. Like,
Yeah.
he's a sadistic medic, but he's a medic.
Yeah. Also, Megatron is just sadistic in this episode, strapping Perceptor to that bomb, having the
Yeah.
having the light shine through his what a Saw type trap.
That was insane to see. I was like, oh my gosh.
Absolute
What did this guy do?
sadism.
While he's infected as well is...
Yeah, and then he uses it to spread the disease to the Autobots, and then Rumble's like, why don't you just melt the Autobot HQ to the ground? And he's like, I don't want to melt them, I want them to suffer. And then
Yeah.
he's just watching them on TV suffer. They're all just
Right.
like, oh, and he's like,
Oh.
yes, this is the life.
But yeah, that's Megatron, is that...
Yeah.
I love that it's when his...
evil.
Yeah. He's always about power and control.
Yes.
When he doesn't have control, he turns into a crybaby.
Yeah.
He starts catastrophizing and he's like, no, Decepticons retreat.
Yeah.
But then he gets Perceptor to help him out, and then he's like a junkie after the chorus stop. He's like, give me that.
Yeah.
And then the second he gets his bodily autonomy back,
Yeah.
then he's like, all right, now I'm gonna lord this over everybody.
Yeah.
And that just says so much about his character. I love it.
Yeah.
But also, like, I love the little detail of Optimus when he goes to rescue Perceptor and he saves him.
It's so sweet.
Yeah,
I
and
love
he
it.
willingly picks him up, and like he's very obviously infected. He's got this horrible rust everywhere.
Yeah.
But he ignores it and picks it up because it's a friend in need. And I love that. That's Optimus. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's not the smartest decision, but it's the right decision.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we
There's
get a
no
wonderful
social
Deus
distance.
Ex Machina, the Matter Duplicator.
Yeah, like they just invented the Star Trek universe and solved world hunger
Yes.
in this episode.
Yep. And I don't know why, but part of me always gets this confused with Microbots. And that
Oh yeah, because of the shrink ray.
I think of the shrink ray when they say the Matter Duplicator.
Yeah. But then it's this like Flash Gordon looking technology.
Yeah. But it never worked.
But apparently it never worked. Yeah,
Yep.
like they brought it with them. Another thing they brought on their ship with them, but it just didn't work for them for some
Yeah. Also, a randomly great image from this is Motormaster using an anchor and a chain like a lasso.
Yeah. I love that they're like some Mad Max motorcycle gang in this episode.
Hooligans. They got some moments to shine, but they very, very, very rarely get any sort of characterization.
This is the
They're
beginning of
always
them
just-
being put in the
They're
background.
just goons.
Yeah. They.
Which is, I think, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Ultimately, that's what the aerial bots and the Combaticons were made to be, I think.
Right.
Both in by accident of the storytelling and in universe also.
Yeah.
Because especially in this episode, like they're just kind of background characters.
Right.
They get some things done. They show off the new toys, But yeah, I like your note that Astrotrain has kind of religious inclinations.
Oh yeah, he says it's like, oh, it's a bad omen, like that
Yeah.
and stuff. He kind of sounds like he means it. So I don't know if it's like related to him and his shenanigans on God Gambit.
Yeah.
Where he was like, oh, I play God and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But then after a while, he probably was like, well, I don't know, maybe there's some stuff to this.
Yeah. But
I like the idea of Astro Train being a poser to religious iconography,
Yeah.
but then actually kind of being superstitious.
Yes.
Like-
yeah. That is a really interesting idea and dynamic.
Yeah. It doesn't show up much, but I would like to see more of it.
Yep. Oh, and speaking of things that don't work, it's interesting that one of the aerial bots, when he reports on what happened, he says that the Decepticons have some kind of weird heat ray, and it works.
Oh, yeah.
Which implies that other heat rays don't work.
They maybe tried to build something like this.
Even though most laser guns are basically kind of like heat rays.
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, it's not the same, but it's similar. You know?
Maybe he tried to build this, and then the Autobots noticed that, like, wait, why is the arc just, like, slightly more warm?
Yeah.
And
He made
Megatron
a
was off in
space
the
heater.
distance, just like, curses!
Yeah. Oh, you meant Megatron, yeah.
Yeah, like, Megatron tried to make a heat ray, and it just didn't work. Maybe it was like his version of the matter duplicator.
Yeah.
The heat ray, but it doesn't work.
right. Little geography note: Fox Creek Canyon is 3 miles from the Autobot HQ. Add that to the map. I should actually make that map.
We
someday.
should. That should be our end of series, like the definitive map of the
I feel
US.
like I'd have to rewatch the episodes again, though, or at least go through all of our notes again. But it's speaking of updates, I like to see the update to the Autobot lineup outside of the HQ from episode 1. In More Than Meets the Eye, there's a scene where Optimus lines up all the Autobots, all the season 1 toys, and Jazz does roll call, and they all transform. In here, he gets all the season 2 characters out, and as we're gonna go save Perceptor, but it's just kind of a neat little update to that.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think that's a cool callback,
Yeah.
if it's even a callback at all. But also interesting, B says as he thinks he's dying, he says somebody's got to get us back to Cybertron. He doesn't say that he thinks there's a cure on Cybertron. I think he just wants to die on Cybertron.
I don't blame him.
When he wants to die, he wants to go home to die.
It seems like a line that'd be more fitting for like Mirage or somebody, but that's neat.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then they fight on the Statue of Liberty, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I like
it's
a
not
good
a very impressive fight, but it's cool.
Yeah, I like a good national monument showdown.
Yeah.
Like it's always goofy but fun.
Apparently, Korra stops laser blasts also because the Statue of Liberty is completely unscathed by that battle.
Yeah.
Even though they're shooting right at it.
Yeah. But yeah, every single episode in here, in these batch of episodes, it always ends with just kind of a knockdown drag out between combiners of various kinds. And I mean, it's fine. Like, but it's always like, you can tell that they're stretching the budget whenever they get to the combiners. Like, Menasor especially always seems to suffer the most from like the way that he's animated and stuff. He just never seems consistent. He just seems like a bunch of cars stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, I think Trans Europe Express is probably the best Stunticons episode.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're just kind of there. Anyway.
Cosmic Rust.
Pretty good episode. It's mostly interesting for the lore implications.
Yes. I do like the genuine threat of Cosmic Rust as an entity.
Yeah.
Like, they really do a good job at building up that sort of suspense of like, oh, geez, this whole colony got wiped out, and now it's here on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good. It would have been way more suspenseful if Korostop wasn't a thing just at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, it's very conveniently timed. Yeah.
But then they also say like, oh no, ingredient X is no longer anywhere in the universe.
Do you think that Blaster and Cosmos just stayed in orbit once they found out that everybody was infected? That's what got me thinking about the connection to the COVID pandemic, was like, how come nobody's isolating themselves, How come we don't have a whole isolation thing?
Well, that's the same thing with COVID. Why isn't anybody isolating themselves?
All right, before we get too political, let's take a break.
Not to get political.
All right, thanks for listening to our podcast. Let's talk politics.
Anyway, on to the next episode. And next up,
Okay.
Next up is Starscream's Brigade. Starscream is banished to an island for trying to kill Megatron. He finds old World War II machines and steals personality components from Cybertron to bring the machines to life as the Combaticons. They attack Autobots and Decepticons to finish their construction. Megatron throws Devastator at the Combaticons, but they combine into Bruticus until Menasor stops them. Starscream and the Combaticons are banished to a big goopy green asteroid.
So we start this episode with a historical flashback to the Battle of Guadalcanal in 1943, which is a real thing.
Yes.
Guadalcanal is a island in the Solomon Islands that's kind of northeast of Australia.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see a World War II flashback in sepia colors.
Yeah, with tracer rounds similar to how they would show up in actual
Right?
wartime footage and everything.
So the Guadalcanal campaign, also known as the Battle of Guadalcanal and codenamed Operation Watchtower by the United States, was an Allied offensive against forces of the Empire of Japan in the Solomon Islands during the Pacific theater of World War II. It was fought between the 7th of August, 1942 and 9th of February, 1943. So the flashback takes place near the end of this battle, and involved major land and naval battles on and surrounding the Isle of Guadalcanal. It was the first major Allied land offensive against Japan during the war.
Wow, dang. See, I always just assumed that this was a randomly made up, Pacific combat
theater,
zone that they just
just
Guadalcanal
makes
somewhere,
So it makes me wonder if the Decepticon base is actually close to this island somehow.
Probably.
Because I always thought they were close to the Pacific Northwest, but maybe they're actually closer to the...
It would make sense since Laserbeak carries Starscream in his robot form and just dumps him there. So I'm assuming that he just carried him as far as he could before dropping him off.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I don't know, maybe this island, whatever.
But if he's being banished, it makes sense to take him far away, too.
Yeah. That's true. The cool thing about this, though...
spicy drama of the Decepticon base.
Yeah, well, the weird thing about this, the beginning of this episode, it feels weirdly third person.
Yeah.
Where we get this, flashback to World War II. And it's what the heck does this have to do with anything? Mm-hmm. And then we see, the decay into the present day of all these vehicles that are left there. And then it kind of pans away and then goes to the Decepticon base and kind of zooms in on them. Feels like it's a weirdly third-person viewpoint.
Yeah.
For at least the first part of it. And then it solely squares in on Starscream.
Right.
As a perspective.
Right.
But
yeah, we start out with some spicy Decepticon drama.
The squabble.
Yeah. And I feel like Starscream hasn't directly attacked Megatron since maybe more than meets the eye.
Yes. And it's weird that it just happens. It's, nobody turns their back on me.
Simmering up for a whole season at this point. The last major conflict, Megatron ripped out his throat for no reason. It wasn't even Starscream's fault.
Yeah, they've kind of been on there haven't really been a lot of deception or treachery angles played in the past couple of episodes.
Now, he does try to double cross Megatron in Triple Takeover.
Yes.
That was probably the last big power play, but this is the most recent or the first just flat out attack, just out of pure rage and spite.
Right. Which is probably why Megatron decides
CI.
to banish him, is because okay, this is escalated to where he's actively shooting me in the back.
Yeah.
I got to get rid of him, but less of I'm scared of him. It's more of I want to teach the rest of the Decepticons a lesson.
Yeah.
Is by he tactically exiles Starscream to send a message and say, never respect anybody like Starscream.
Yeah.
Never respect someone who's willing to stab you in the back to get leadership.
Yeah.
If they try to do that and they succeed, they don't deserve to be a leader.
Yeah. So I think what he's trying to do in this episode, instead of just killing Starscream, because that comes up a lot.
Why
doesn't Megatron just kill Starscream?
Yeah.
I think in this episode, because number one, we established last episode, he's a sadist.
Yeah.
So what he's trying to do here by exiling him is make him a pariah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's trying to torment him because he knows that Starscream's ego can't handle not having people under him.
Yeah. And that's like, it's weirdly enough the catalyst for Starscream to go on one of his biggest revenge arcs.
Yeah. This is definitely another one of Starscream's big bizarre adventures.
Yeah. Even goes into space.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's funny. He banishes him twice in this episode.
Yeah.
Once to an island and then once to deeper space.
If it didn't work the first time, try it again.
Just further out.
Just go further.
It's just such a funny cut, too.
Yeah.
It's Astro Train. And then the next shot, he's just on an asteroid
Just
in
sitting there like,
oh. Curse you, Megatron.
But I like that Starscream is actually aware of what Megatron is doing.
Yes.
Is that he's like, oh, geez, my image has been tainted. They're never going to respect me.
Yeah.
But his solution is literally just, I'll just make people who will respect me.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, has precedent, because that's exactly what Megatron did with the Stunticons.
Yeah.
Is that it's like, let me just get a blank slate.
Yeah.
Of guys who they haven't experienced anything else. Mm-hmm. So all they have to look up to is me.
Yeah.
But even with Megatron.
Like Shockwave.
Yeah. Shockwave this, Shockwave that. But even then, the Stunticons, it didn't really work out too well because they just didn't have any reference, so they didn't have any reason to care.
Yeah.
They're just so nonchalant about everything where it's like, whatever.
Yeah,
like
because
that.
Megatron's only request was they hate Autobots.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, we'll hate Autobots. Didn't say anything about you.
Yeah.
But Starscream gets the worst end of this because he specifically goes and gets people who, out of all of the combiners, have an explicit history.
And an actual personality.
And their personality is that they hate authority.
Before we move on to the Combaticons, because we'll have lots of stuff to say about them, I just want to note one more thing on Starscream's betrayal. There's a note on the old diagrams of Megatron's character design.
Oh, yes.
That says that Megatron has a bomb in his hip panel that will explode specifically if he is ever laying down on his side and somebody puts their foot on him in victory, just to blow them up after he's been defeated, which is the most Megatron thing. But also, apparently, the writers forgot that in this episode because Starscream puts his foot up on Megatron, and then, but number one, Megatron's not completely dead, and Starscream didn't put his foot on that panel.
Right.
So maybe they did pay attention. I don't know.
Kid you not, that detail has lived in my head with every Megatron design.
Yes.
It's like, okay, does he have the back cannon? That's actually like a fusion cannon
that
like
draws energy from
the heart of a black hole.
Yeah, that's
and
also
does
what that
he have
pipe
the
on his shoulder
explosive panel on his side? That's the sign of a true Megatron.
That's like finding out that little tube on the back of the Stormtrooper outfit is not a canteen as I originally thought, but a bomb.
Oh yeah, it's a grenade.
Anyway,
but yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Starscream. It's weird that he goes to the island, and then he has enough fuel to. Oh wait, no, he goes to the space bridge. That's right.
Yeah. Which, by the way, did Skywarp and Thundercracker not get the memo that Starscream was banished? Because they just said that nobody's supposed to use the space bridge right now.
Yeah.
Not that Starscream specifically is not allowed to use
I think that's what they were. I think that's what they were implying is that they've just been on guard duty, so they had no idea any of this spat went on. Or it's even funnier if they know that he's exiled, but he's their boss.
Yeah.
So it's like your old manager who got fired for like laundering money from the company comes back in and it's like, look, dude, I can't let you in here, but like, I mean, you're my boss. Like,
yeah.
So it's even funnier if they were just like, oh, you know what? I don't care. Just go use the space bridge.
Yeah.
But he goes. And we finally get to it. We've referenced it so many times with reference to Devastator and all these other people.
Yeah.
The personality component chamber.
Yes.
Which is just a filing cabinet.
I love that so much.
It's not just a filing cabinet, though. It's a big wall, which
Okay, so it's simultaneously hilarious and cosmically terrifying.
Yes!
That the Decepticon detention center is they take, which makes sense because Transformers can transform. Why, and they could just break out of,
Yeah.
we see jails in the next episode, in fact, that are just regular jails.
Right.
But this specifically, they had their brains removed, put into energon cubes, and placed in a filing cabinet.
Yes.
What did these guys do?
It's one thing when it's like, okay, they're Decepticon prisoners.
Yeah.
You could extrapolate, oh, well, they're like Autobots that got imprisoned and then, tortured over years and then just plugged into a room. These guys are specifically stated to be Decepticon renegades.
Yeah, that's what Shockwave calls them. And Teletran calls them political prisoners.
They are Decepticons who were so dangerous to the Decepticon cause that they had to rip out their brains and destroy their bodies.
Yeah, their original
These guys are menaces.
Yeah.
Which we see in the next episode.
Even this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Starscream, he seems to know what he's looking for. So these people were well known as criminals.
Yeah, they're warlords, basically.
Yeah, but these are the Baraki.
They're the Baraki of Transformers.
Right. That's why I love these guys so much.
They're so cool.
Baraki are from Bionicle. If
literally the
know.
same thing.
Yeah,
Imprisoned
basically
in
the same thing. And they got mutated too, because here they get resurrected in these crude carcasses.
Yeah.
In Revenge of Bruticus, Onslaught says technology has improved since they were imprisoned, and Bruticus says they were imprisoned for millions of years.
Mm-hmm.
So
we don't know if they were conscious during this entire time.
I think these guys didn't. I think they were conscious, and that's what's really terrifying.
That is very terrifying to think about.
Now, also, they're all in one filing cabinet because Starscream just takes one energon cube out, right?
And then he destroys the rest.
And he destroys the rest. I think he's trying to cover his tracks so they don't know who he stole. But are there other Decepticons in that filing cabinet? Did he kill all of them?
Are some of them Autobots?
Are some of them Autobots? Are some of them
innocent bystanders?
Maybe they're not all prisoners. Maybe they're just Shockwave's files.
Yeah. Maybe they're like what he uses to power the drones.
The Sentinels.
His like
stuff.
Sentinels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows, man?
There's so much implied stuff with that just is never addressed, and I love it.
But yeah, the idea that they were so even the Decepticon, they were too much to handle even for the Decepticon, makes me think that they probably weren't Robo-Smash. They've just always been evil.
Yes. But yeah, or maybe they broke their Robo-Smashing.
That could be too, yeah. They just became, like, they were already evil military people before they got Robo-Smashing, and the Robo-Smashing made them even more crazy or something like, I don't know,
because it's not that they're like insane or anything like that. It's just that they're smart and organized.
Yeah.
Like, they're a team. They're a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work for Starscream's plan.
Yeah.
Because his plan is make them dependent on me and only me.
Right.
Which is actually, like, props to Starscream for actually thinking it through a lot of,
right, because he doesn't install their power absorbers.
Exactly.
Or whatever they're called.
So he
Energy
makes
absorbers.
them physically dependent on him.
Yeah.
Which is
basically
a really, like, cruel fate for Combaticons specifically, who they have had their bodies stripped from them for millennia.
Yeah.
And now they're given another chance, which it explains a lot why they're like, I just got plugged into this weird, crude Earth machine and stuff.
Right.
Which it's
would be
kind of
quite the shock to wake up.
It's literally like the Avatar, like, the Avatar thing, Blue People Avatar.
Oh, okay,
Where it's like you're waking up in someone else's body.
Yeah.
And them also like, oh, by the way, you're also missing organs that are vital for you to, feed and eat.
Right.
And those vital organs are just gone.
Yeah.
And the only guy who knows how to reintegrate those into your body is blackmailing you to serve him. Like, that's specifically like a knife in the back for them.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Which also makes them hate Starscream even more.
Right.
And I love how much this plan is.
And in the next
Starscream's,
episode, he even says that he expected them to rebel at some point.
Yeah. Like, I like how this plan, it is thought out.
Yeah.
But it's also just so specifically not in Starscream's favor.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he thought that he was gonna get some guys who
It's
would
a very Starscream thing to do and have happen to him.
Yes. But yeah, I do agree with you though that I wish that they stayed in their World War II forms.
Yeah.
At least for this episode.
Yeah.
Like, you can still have them going around, and then like maybe they go to like a museum or something and see like where do these forms come from. And then they see the updated versions of them. It's like, well, I'll go with that one. Like
Right.
that.
Yeah, I wish that at least at the beginning they stayed in their World War II. You know, it can be the same robot mode, but show them changing at some point. You know,
Yeah.
Because
It's weird that
number one, like I said before, I want to see that 50s era vehicles Transformers line at some point, and that could include World War II vehicles as well. The Combaticons would be great in that. But the it's just I have questions like, does installing the personality components and presumably putting in Energon just reformat the whole machine into a transformer, or did Starscream build them like, how the Autobots reconstruct those jets into the aerial bots?
Yeah.
Or they built the Dinobots from scratch or whatever. Is the same thing here. Did Starscream have to build each one of them their new bodies?
Right.
That's why they all have the same face.
Which it actually makes sense why Starscream's doing it, because he is the scientist. Like, he would be the most capable Decepticon to do that, other than like Shockwave or something.
Yeah. But, or is it like, in the live action movies where you just touch the Allspark to him and it reformats whatever machine into a transformer?
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, I still don't like that it's like World War II vehicle just spontaneously morphs into an updated vehicle form.
Yeah, it's kind of
without
weird.
any sort of reference whatsoever.
Right.
It's like,
unless Starscream did program something into them as he reconstructed them or something like that, to be updated into the new vehicles.
right.
But like, why does Blastoff turn into a space shuttle?
Yeah.
Like, all the other ones are still military vehicles, but why is Blastoff a camouflage space shuttle?
Well, I actually have an idea about that.
Space Force.
Space Force. Well, I'll get into it when we talk more about their personalities. I have a note about that in the next episode. But about their individual personalities, and I feel like that does tie into Blastoff's specifically.
Yeah. And I do really like that they all have distinct personalities. They all feel like
so
they have
distinct.
This is why this is my favorite combiner team, is because each character is easily identifiable. They feel like they have a distinct place on the team, and there's a team cohesion amongst them as well. Except Blastoff, who turns into a space shuttle.
The Combaticons are easily my favorite combiner team out of all of them.
Yeah.
A close second is Computron.
I do like the Terracons. They're kind of fun.
Yes.
I like all. I mean, the Constructicons are pure classic, but I'm talking Scramble City combiners. And I do like all of them in their own ways, but I feel like the Combaticons are the most distinct.
Yeah.
And they have a very interesting backstory too.
Yeah, and also like tying into their theme of like, we're taking back our own autonomy.
Yeah.
Is that they're physically ripping out the parts that they need from other Transformers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
it's
eventually,
pretty intense.
when they get back to being fully up and operational, like, they're still fighting.
Yeah.
And stuff, but yeah,
and
it really
Starscream just barely scraping by, trying to continuously manipulate the situation.
He's like, look, we got two more. We just got one more.
I love
Bear
that.
with me, guys.
Yeah.
I love that they're just
constantly threatening him.
Yeah, and it's a good turnabout fair play in that Starscream's used to the Decepticons just kind of like brushing off his attempts at leadership.
Yeah.
And just sort of ignoring him.
Yeah.
This is the first group of Decepticons that is actively calling him out on his crap.
Yeah. And about to kill him.
Not letting him get away with it.
Right. Because if you think about it, once they had 4 Transformers, they could have just killed Starscream and took his energy.
Exactly.
But Starscream was the only one who knew how to install them.
Right. He kept his leverage. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he did. Which makes me wonder, who was the 5th Transformer? Because we only ever see them take 4 Transformers. They needed a 5th one. And they start juicing up, even though he says, oh, I'll install them after we defeat Megatron. But apparently they talked him into installing them sooner.
Yeah.
Why do you think Starscream wanted to duel Megatron in a train station that seems to be live with lots of people? Like there's a sound effect with a lot of crowd in the background, but
you know, I think
anybody.
he just took a page out of Astro Train's book.
Yeah,
and was just like, trains.
It's interesting location.
Well, I think,
but I don't know why he's there.
But I believe Soundwave mentions that energizing of troops has failed.
Yeah, because I think they're on the way back. Because initially Megatron blames Optimus for stealing the personality components.
Yeah.
And he attacks Autobot Base. And then I think on the way back from Autobot Base, he meets Starscream in the train station.
I love the... so maybe they were there to re-energize. Maybe they were pulling from the power grid there.
That's
or
a good
something.
point. But he says, "Where is that coward Starscream?" You know, like he was expecting to find him there.
Well, I love.
I love the cut to commercial. Bye bye, Megatron. No.
But I love the moment where the Autobots and Decepticons are blaming each other for stuff.
Yeah.
And then Megatron is like, "Wait a minute. Maybe the Autobots really didn't do it." And then he instantly gets shot and he's just like, ah! Gosh dang it.
I love that the Stunticons just don't give a crap.
Another really good characterization of the Stunticons is that they're like, tell Megatron to blow it out of its exhaust port. We're having a demolition derby right now.
That's more important.
It's literally just like, yeah, no, we're Raven in the background. Like,
yeah. And if they didn't change their mind and show up later on, Starscream may have actually won this episode.
Yeah.
This is the closest he's ever come to actually ruling the Decepticons.
Really, if you think about it,
I'm sure it would have fallen all apart for him within a week. Being that this is season 2 at Starscream and all, but you know,
but he actually had the muscle power for it this time, which is impressive. Granted, it was borrowed muscle power,
right. And it's interesting that Bruticus is more willing to serve Starscream than the Combaticons are.
Yeah, it's always a recurring theme that Bruticus is, pretty dumb.
Yeah,
but he's not stupid. Like, he's slow, but he's not stupid.
Yeah.
But also, like, with the Stunticons, they just don't care.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention this with the last episode, but them being invincible in car mode
that too.
kind of plays into that.
Yeah.
Where they're so nonchalant that we can run into anything, do anything we want, cause havoc, whatever. It doesn't matter. So nothing matters. Like, right. And the fact that they show up at the end, and literally Dead End says, "Who cares?"
Right.
And Motormaster's only reason for stepping in is like, I just don't want to have to deal with Starscream later on down the line.
Yeah.
He's just that annoying.
Yeah.
It's not even like, oh, what if he becomes a threat? It's just like, do you really want to deal with Starscream? And he's like, good point.
Yeah.
And then they just casually one-hit Bruticus and Starscream. I guess some power scaling with Menasor, because Devastator gets taken out pretty quickly and then Menasor just one-taps him. So
yeah. So I guess Menasor is still the top dog.
I guess.
But, they just got done fighting Devastator. So, there's some pretty good... this is a pretty good looking episode. I like this plot. This is a very fun
I love this episode.
Yeah. Animation gets a little stunted there near the end.
Stunty-con.
Yeah. It's not the most impressive animation, but it looks good. Like everybody's on a good character model.
But then, of course, we also get the best addition into the Transformers mythos, the green goopy asteroid.
Do you like green asteroids and ham? It changes size every shot.
Yeah.
It gets bigger. Because the first shot we see of it in this episode, it's tiny.
Yeah.
It's like it has room for all 6 of them.
It's barely an island.
And that's it. And then the next episode, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it's this mountain that lands on Cybertron. It's so funny.
Yep.
Anyway, but with that, we'll take a break. And we're back with The Revenge of Bruticus. The Combaticon. Wait. The Revenge of Bruticus. The Combaticons raid Cybertron and evict Shockwave. Onslaught uses the space bridge to push Earth into the sun.
That hurts, man. That just hurts to
Meanwhile,
hear.
the Insecticons tear up the space bridge on Earth so the Decepticons and Autobots the Decepticons and Autobots have to work together to get to Cybertron, where they learn from Starscream how to defeat Bruticus and save Earth.
You doing that pointed out to me that, like, yeah, Bruticus sounds like he's struggling with every line. He's just like, or at least he's bloated. Just he just
Bruticus
sounds like
is having a hernia with every line.
He's struggling to get them words out, but by golly, he's getting them out.
Too buff. Anyway, so this is another rare picking up where we left off last episode. That isn't a part 2 episode. You know, other examples are like Child's Play and The Gambler, or Countdown to Extinction coming right after.
Right. It's not a part 1, part 2 situation, but it is.
Yeah. Also, this is another good looking episode. This has some really nice looking,
very good looking
like
frames.
The dark shading, especially near the end of this episode, some of the dark shading looks really cinematic.
Yeah.
The animation is really good in this episode too.
Yes.
But yeah, the artwork and the animation is very good in this episode. Which is very nice to see, as we have very much been in the more mushy side of season 2. But yeah, this episode also has a lot of well done action and slick pacing. Like this episode moves so fast and but like everything flows into each other really well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts to this plot, but they all work together pretty darn good.
Yeah, this one, it definitely is like the same situation as Trans Europe Express, where there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
But I think this one flows between them much better.
Yeah.
Granted, as a kid, I always remembered the Bruticus and Combaticon scenes.
Oh,
I didn't remember too much from the rest of it.
Yeah, sometimes I forget that the Insecticons are in this episode, but
Same.
oh my goodness. We get hang on.
A dang infestation.
Yeah, we get Operation Revenge with the Combaticons. We get Starscream and Shockwave teaming up and then double crossing each other. And then we've got an Insecticon plague at the same time.
Yeah.
The Autobots and Decepticons have to team up to stop the threat of Bruticus and save the world. Oh, and also the Protectobots are here too, I guess.
Yeah.
Where did they come from?
Okay.
Like, they just show up out of nowhere. Did they already exist? We don't see Defensor in this episode, but do you think that the Protectobots existed before? We're just going to get this out of the way before we go into our
It's
deep
very
dive
little
on this.
to discuss.
Yeah. Do you think that the Protectobots existed before all this? Like, they're kind of like the season 2 characters. They just show up out of deep space. Or do you think that they were created from Vector Sigma after the aerial bots were?
I think they were probably a already existing team. My idea is that because they use like a lot of like human stations and stuff like that, they kind of come out of the woodworks when the city is under attack.
Yeah.
I think they sprung up out of the Autobots doing all of their like in-city like in disguise, like tracks with Raoul and stuff, the street level city shenanigans and stuff. And then they realized, we probably need a first responding team that's solely dedicated to evacuating citizens should the worst come to worst.
Yeah.
And
which
also
we
just
see them doing in this.
Yeah,
episode.
and then also patrol around the area and just keep an eye on things in the city.
Yeah. Conceptually, I really like that there is a separate division of Autobots that are solely focused on doing search and rescue, crime prevention, and just low-level public relations type stuff that we'll see in a later episode that they're kind of sort of famous, among the humans.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, but they're not even the stars of their own episode.
Right.
But yeah.
They are completely devoid of personality.
Yeah. So conceptually, I like that they fill a need so that the Autobots, the main character Autobots, can focus on stopping the Decepticons while these guys are helping clean up the mess, basically.
Right.
It's just sad that they're just so much of a wayside sort of thing. Until season 3, that one episode where one of them gets, First Aid gets a spotlight episode, and then we never hear from him again.
Yeah.
I mean, they show up here and there, but
you could...
They're like if the Autobots are the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, these guys are the Coast Guard.
Yes. You could look at it
They're
as
essential, but they just do not get the same limelight.
Yeah, you could look at it as these guys were the foundation for stuff like rescue bots and stuff like that. But man, I could not tell you the names of any one of them by themselves. I think the fire truck is Hotspot, and that's only because he had the Fireball whiskey logo on the side of his door.
Yeah. I can only tell you... Well, okay. Hang on. First Aid, Blades Groove, Streetwise, and Hotspot. And I do not know...
Streetwise? Who is he?
He's a cop car.
Why do you have a cop car and a cop bike?
Yeah. Anyway.
I ain't complaining. I'm just... Dude...
I like the Protectobots conceptually. I just wish that they had more to do in... Like, I wish that they actually had a starring episode in season 2.
Don't get me wrong. I love them, but you put them in the same episode as the Combaticons, who are just oozing personality.
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty hard to shine in comparison. But speaking of the Combaticons, the entire sequence with them on the asteroid and bickering with Starscream, golden, beautiful. Don't change a thing. It's amazing. But I love that they're in the middle of Operation Revenge.
Yeah.
And that...
How did Starscream not know that Blastoff was towing that asteroid?
Yeah. They probably just didn't tell him.
Yeah. But he didn't notice that they were moving through space?
Yeah, well...
Well, I mean, space is big.
Yeah. He probably was just like, I don't know what they're doing. I just can't stand it. I'm stuck on here with these guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave. But...
I love how he just leaves Exile for the second time.
Yeah. But him, like, just... I don't care. I'm leaving. But the Combaticons are already getting a massive scale operation underway with their like plans and stuff. And it feels like, oh yeah, 5 guys are going to show up on Cybertron and take it over. They do.
Yeah. And then I love that Starscream just dumps them as soon as he can. But once he sees that they're doing good, he tries to take credit for it. He's like, oh yeah, you guys are still under my command.
My Combaticons
He's like,
have
you
done
guys are pieces
well.
of junk. And then he's like, oh, you're doing well. Yes, I totally planned this whole thing,
Which is, it's really cool to see the Combaticons get their comeuppance against both Starscream, their wannabe creator,
right,
who thinks he's their dad, basically, and that they owe him something.
Right.
And then also Shockwave, who was most likely the guy who imprisoned them.
Right.
And ripped out their brains.
Right.
So there's a lot of poetic justice with them getting back to Cybertron and laying waste to Shockwave's troops.
It's interesting that, speaking of which, Shockwave's troops are the Sentinel Buzz Lightyear guy from the Desertion of the Dinobots episode.
Yeah.
So nice to see that he's mass-produced those, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting that Bruticus says, and this is probably just a dialogue versus animation error, But it's interesting that Bruticus says you control giant sentinels. What giant sentinels?
Oh.
They're nowhere to be seen in this episode. So those must have been the things that fought. Also, he assumes that if he defeats Shockwave, it's going to Phantom Menace all of his drones.
Yeah.
Which he's got the little sentinels, but where are the giant sentinels? I mean, but maybe when they went rogue originally, they had to fight the giant sentinels, and that's what brought them into the.
Oh yeah.
And it might be the derpy Scissorhands sentinel
Right.
guy from Desertion of the Dinobots they're referring to.
They're still pretty big.
Yeah, or it could be that Shockwave took command of more of the Omega Sentinels,
That could be.
the Guardian robots.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's just an interesting little lore drop there.
But I like that this episode is where we get, we got bits and pieces of their personalities.
Yeah.
But this is where we get like showcases.
Yes.
Specifically Onslaught, in that he is a tactical genius.
Yeah.
Even more so than someone like Scrapper or, anyone like that, where he is specifically about the plan.
Yeah.
And even the Combaticons, I love the trust level that they have in him, where it's like, don't worry, Onslaught's got a plan. He always does.
Yeah.
And that they're a unit. They're a solid unit. He's the leader.
Yeah. Chaotic unit, but they're like a band of brothers.
Yeah, they're a band of warlord brothers.
Right.
But I love that they all kind of play into like specific military tropes, like character tropes. They feel like a platoon.
Yeah.
Where Onslaught is the genius military strategist who always has a plan and is pretty wants to brag about it.
Yes.
But only when it's going to succeed.
Right. Once he's already put it into motion.
Yeah, once everything's going, that's when he's like, all right, Combaticons, here's my plan, like that and stuff. Which, like, that's from the, his line, Operation Revenge is underway.
Right.
Brawl is just a gung-ho brute. Like, he's just about the fight, from his name.
Yep.
And I love his voice, too. But you get that line from where he's...
We annihilated them.
Yeah, he's just like, who cares who we're fighting? Let's annihilate him.
Yeah.
Blastoff is interesting because he feels like he's a haughty British World War I sort of officer.
Yeah.
Where he's about the pomp and circumstance. He's about the shiny gun. Because he keeps talking about my ionic displacer. But he's more about, like, the trappings of everything.
Interesting that both space shuttles have an ionic displacer.
Maybe it's a standard spacefaring equipment.
Yeah. Oh, also, that reminds me that it's implied that Starscream modeled Brawl off of Blitzwing.
Yes.
But maybe he also modeled Blastoff off of Astrotrain.
That could be. But his lines about my ionic displacer, the crude bodies and everything, he's about fancy stuff.
Yeah.
He's about pomp and circumstance. Swindle is a wartime profiteer. We don't get this characterization too much in this episode.
Yeah.
But the little seed is there where I think he tells Brawl specifically, like, blast him apart and I'll pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
So he's very much just like the profiteer. He's the scavenger and stuff.
And he gets his own episode coming up.
Yes. We'll see that later. But Vortex is crazy. But I view it as that he's a crazy Vietnam helicopter pilot.
Yeah, that
because
archetype.
Those guys were actually like nuts to pull off the maneuvers that they did to get troops in and out.
Right.
And you get that with, like, he's just in it for, like, the surprise of everything.
Let's go for a little whirl.
Yeah, let's go for a whirl. Let's go for a ride. And then he's like, I love sneak attacks.
Yeah.
and stuff. He's in it for the party. He feels like a weird precursor to Cyclonus from the Unicron trilogy.
You're absolutely right.
But, yeah. And then all of that combines into Bruticus, which he's pretty dumb. But in this episode, he seems way smarter.
Yes.
Way more composed, way more tactically sound.
Yeah.
He's still a brute, but he's a smart brute.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing.
He's smarter in this episode because at the end, Megatron lobotomizes him.
Yes.
That's why he's dumber in following episodes.
I think what that leads me to believe is that they didn't originally used to be able to combine.
Yes.
Is that when Starscream gave them the combiner ability,
Yeah.
That was basically a new personality being formed.
Yeah.
So it's why last episode he was kind of more of like, "Urgh," like that. He was
Right.
just a lurching being.
Yeah.
But the longer he exists as Bruticus, the smarter he gets, the more actualized his personality becomes.
Right.
Imagine what would happen if Bruticus became more and more tactically sound past this, if he was allowed to not be stunted by Megatron.
Yeah.
He could probably rival most of the Decepticons.
Yeah, eventually all the Combaticons would just merge
Into the Bruticus super being.
yeah, and then Bruticus would take over the Decepticons.
Yeah. I like the idea
Except
that...
he wouldn't be able to really pull off the plans that he can when he's got the, Combaticons.
Right.
So, in a way, until Computron, this is probably the most successful combiner.
Exactly.
Um,
But yeah, I love Bruticus. I love that his plan works and that they are also involving Earth in it, and that Operation Revenge is not just get revenge against Starscream and Shockwave, it's get revenge against everybody.
we're gonna take out everybody who ever hurt us. Megatron's on Earth. We'll just get rid of the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everything that's happening on Earth as well. The Insecticon swarm. This really feels like a full-on invasion of Earth.
Yeah.
With them like tearing up the city. and stuff.
Yeah. This is on, this is what we are about to see in Quest for Survival.
Yeah.
And what's there's another one.
I
with
think the
giant
Morphobots
swarm.
just like deleted a lot of the swarm,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they've
so
just now built up to
They've
this point.
just now recovered their swarm to the size that it is in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, the three main Insecticons don't get much of a spotlight in this episode, although they are in here. But it's interesting that the hive or the swarm is more bestial in this episode.
Yeah.
Too,
And then I like that we do actually see that they...
And we're picking up in media res too, like Megatron's just like, well, time to do the Insecticon thing again.
Right. But yeah, and I like that they have a more animal threat, which gives the Protectobots a good chance to shine.
Right. And I like seeing the Autobots and the Protectobots just helping people in the city and stuff, like we already kind of discussed. But yeah, no, what I was going to say was, following on, I found my note here. I love Onslaught's ridiculous plan. It kind of makes sense, but also just, what the heck? It's equally a terrifying concept and also visually ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, if Earth really got as close as is shown on the monitor at the end of the episode, it would have been toast long before then. Only a small change in our orbital distance from the sun would cause all of the chaos that we see in this episode. And I know we need to have the visual representation to show
they're getting close to the sun.
They're getting close to the sun. We're gonna have we have everything's catching on fire and burning down, which is conceptually terrifying, but they got to throw in the visual of to really sell that we are getting closer to the sun. But I feel like to sell the close call aspect from Cybertron, but I feel like all the other visuals in the episode do a good enough job where the sun is a little bit bigger in the sky and it's burning and everybody's sweating and things are catching on fire, crops are burning, Insecticons are eating things, and it feels very post-apoc in that, or apocalyptic in that way. And the fact that the Autobots and Decepticons have to hunt down the Insecticons to get the computer part so they can repair the space bridge and go home. Or to go to save the Earth,
I also love that
it's a
this
nice
is...
little subplot going on.
Yeah, I love the subplot involving Optimus and Megatron having to team up.
Yeah.
And also them having to... the scene where they have to give up part of their own like internal components, and Optimus willingly gives it up. And Megatron's like, ha ha ha. And
Yeah.
then he's like, you have to too. And he's like, no way.
Yeah. I love that little bit. It's such good character moments.
But yeah, they eventually get to Cybertron and avert the crisis and stuff, but not without having to contend with Bruticus, who is 1v1ing Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
And then he's also got a failsafe on his back, which is really funny to look at.
Yeah, he's just got 3 buttons that
3 little
Optimus just
dots.
sharp shoots. Also, Optimus dual wields guns in this episode. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we get some interesting stuff in this episode as well. This is we get 2 rare alternate angles of Cybertron. One where it looks very much more messed up than the other.
Yes.
And then we also get a rare can see planets / moons in space near Cybertron shots. Which
Moonbase
could
1 and 2?
be, the start of Moonbase 1 and 2, and maybe 3. I think there's a third. You can sometimes see a third moon.
There's very rarely a third.
No. There is a shot in the movie where after he's eaten 2 moons, there's another moon out there. So there is 3 moons. But that may be a mistake. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. But it makes me wonder if Cybertron has moved out of its place in the solar system to somewhere where it's got all these moons and planets visible from where it is, or if it's near enough to Jupiter to where those are the Jovian moons. Or maybe if it's moved away from Jupiter, it could be Saturn's moons that we're seeing. Maybe even one of them is another one of the planets in the solar system. But there's a lot of astronomical bodies in the space background this episode that we don't usually see when we're on Cybertron. And also while they're on the asteroid. So maybe the asteroid was in the asteroid belt, because when you're contrary to Empire Strikes Back, asteroid belts are not that densely packed. I've been told
they are pretty far
by
apart.
science. But yeah, so maybe the green slimy asteroid that gets bigger every shot was
Maybe
in
it's
the
like
asteroid
an
belt.
algae pool thing where it's
Yeah.
just like a clump of algae that just grabs more stuff as it drifts along.
Yeah. I also want to say those squid crab monster thing holograms are pretty cool.
Yes, I love the random little detail that Starscream and Shockwave are kind of bonding over this, like, oh, look at this cool little hologram thing. Like, that's pretty neat.
Shockwave's like, oh, you think that's cool? Watch this. I got gargoyles loaded on here.
And he's like, hey, you want to see my game?
Yeah,
you want to see my new game that I got?
Oh, check out this skin. This guy can do this move.
No, watch this move.
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
this move. Whatcha?
So, do gargoyles exist as an alien species in the Transformers universe, or does Shockwave just know about Earth gargoyles?
Both.
I'm perfectly okay with gargoyles existing as an alien species
In
that
this
inspired
universe,
Earth
I would be
gargoyles.
willing to say yes.
They inspired Earth gargoyles.
Yeah,
maybe?
the squid thingies look vaguely Quintessonian in origin.
Yes, yeah.
But
I would
that's
say
just
so.
because they're like, deep sea creature, as deep sea creature aesthetic. If they were green, then it would definitely be.
yeah, it's the tentacles. It's definitely the tentacles. Also, I think it's funny that Perceptor magnifies the screen and somehow it shows more of the image instead of just a close-up of the monitor.
Yes.
Instead of little dots and stuff.
Oh yeah, weird.
But does Shockwave, does Spike and Spike's in this episode briefly. Does Spike and Perceptor actually see Shockwave go past whatever Teletran is using to view space, or is that just a clever transitional device? Because it still has the lens shape around it.
I always thought that it was gonna show Shockwave like fly past the view, and then Spike go whoa, like that, but it never does.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's just part of the fun editing and pacing of this episode.
Yeah, but at the end, I'm genuinely surprised that Optimus is casually the one that suggests that, like, hey, Megatron, you and I both know that Bruticus is a threat to the universe. Like that. And he's like, we gotta execute him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. See, Bayverse Prime is not without precedent.
That is true.
Optimus has always been nuts.
He does have a ruthless streak to him.
Yep. But I think in this situation where Bruticus almost threw an entire planet into the sun, I think it's justified.
I like that. I always sympathize with the Combaticons because, you know, they were imprisoned and now they're finally out and they're just like a tool of war, but then they carved their own path.
Yeah.
It's easy to root for them. But they do prove why they were locked up in the first place.
Yes, they do.
Like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, Megatron reprograms Bruticus because, of course, he does. And I wonder if that only affects them as Bruticus or if it affects all of the Combaticons.
Yeah, I think it's like a trickle-down effect. Like, it affects Bruticus the most, but they have like a little bit
I think
of it.
it installs more loyalty to Megatron in the Combaticons, but really lobotomizes Bruticus.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Sad.
Man, this would have been a great season finale.
Yes.
I get why there's more episodes, but this would have been a fantastic season finale.
It feels like a
even
season
with that
finale.
corny image of the Earth going towards the sun, and then just turning around, and going back. It's like the ultimate Doom, you know, where most of the storyline is just so well done, and then that little bit at the end is just so goofy the way they solve the problem.
A funny visual.
Yeah, when the planet Cybertron just goes. Boo! But anyway.
Yeah. I wish this was the season finale.
Yeah.
That's how much I like this two-parter.
I get why there's more episodes because I am glad that we get a little more characterization on Swindle. We get that episode with one of the aerial bots, Slingshot. And then there's Bot.
And Bot is the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't hate Bot. Just as the final episode, it's a little confusing.
It's odd.
Yeah, it's odd. Anyway, anything else you want to say about this episode?
I love this. I need more Combaticons in my life in general.
Well, good news. They show up quite a bit in season 3.
Yeah. They're great. I love them.
Yeah. And with that, we'll take a short break and come back with our segments. And we're back with best quotes and weird robot lingo, noteworthy one-liners, dialogue, or weird robot versions of idioms. Trans-Europe Express. Trax knows what the Easter Bunny is.
I never thought of that, but yeah, he does.
All right, we both tried our best to spell this out, but you go ahead and
I'll try it. I'll try it. Now, Ollie, remember, this is for charity.
There's only one charity I care about. Me!
Augie is the best. I love him so much.
And then Trax, you do the Trax.
The top mouth.
Trax calls Augie the top mouth. And then the professor is like, "You're an Autobot. You must help me. You are legally obligated to help me."
I'm glad you got this one. I forgot to put it in, but this is it.
That's it. I'm not taking it anymore. That's right. Because we're taking your car.
Your car. Dead End being as snooty and as snide as possible.
Only.
Megatron, I will be the master of the elements and the planet Earth as well.
The heck you will. Then we get Mega Mouth.
Mega Mouth.
From B. All right, Cosmic Rust. Blitzwing knows what a moth is.
Mm-hmm.
Because he calls the aerial bots aerial moths.
Starscream having impeccable genre savviness of, when there's a curse on the door, there's treasure inside.
Unfortunately, the operation is a success.
We're gonna spray Lady Liberty. An aerial bot.
An aerial bot. I don't know which one. What is that line?
What do you mean?
This is a mutiny. No, I mean a hijack. No, I mean we're taking over this boat.
Breakdown. Breakdown getting a rare moment of characterization.
I do.
He really doesn't get much.
Yeah, some of the Stunticons are fun.
I like that he's just a hot mess.
Yeah.
He's stumbling over his own words and then he just gets frustrated at himself where he's like, "Oh, I mean, we're taking over this boat."
We wouldn't want the Decepticons to find out about Korostop. So, of course, Perceptor announces it on TV to the world.
Of course, we would never want the world to find out how to make a nuclear bomb with a plutonium core and an igniter switch. And that is impossible. We are rust-proof. Megatron.
The matter duplicator. But it doesn't work. It never worked.
I love the lore of it. It's like, the matter duplicator. Oh, man.
That's one of those lines that lives rent-free in my head.
But it doesn't work.
Starscream's Brigade.
Shockwave this, shockwave that. All I ever hear about is how great Shockwave is.
Another one that lives rent-free in my head.
Yes.
Who are you? And what are we doing in these crude carcasses? Another one that lives rent-free in my head.
Yes, I wouldn't want to be caught by anybody I know in this getup. Blast off. Yet another one that lives rent-free in my head. And then, okay, I don't know if I'll be able to do this properly without blowing out the mic. But this is probably the best Starscream yell, arguably in the entire series, when Megatron finally gets one last little jab in. And then he just goes...
You know that's just a brick on the audio line.
Oh, it is.
That's hip brawl, but watch this. Instant air conditioning. Swindle. I see incompetence breeds even more incompetence. Oh, that's the one that comes before the scream.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah. Tell Megatron to blow it out his exhaust.
We're running a demolition derby.
Who cares? So?
Dead End.
Another one that lives rent-free in my head.
Dead End has some terrific one-liners every time that he's on screen.
Okay, I'm liking the Stunticons a lot more.
They have, like, moments.
Yeah,
like, tiny
yeah.
little moments. You gotta look for them, though.
Yeah.
Alright, Revenge of Bruticus.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. This place is a cosmic prison. Shut up!
Brawl just puts Starscream in his place.
Shut up! I love his growl in his voice. It makes it so much better.
Shut up!
If it weren't for you, Megatron never would have banished us to this rock in the first place.
You actually do a really
go.
good brawl.
There we go. Yeah, I had to kick it into gear there, like the matter duplicator.
Exactly. I apologize profusely for missing the target prime. Tracks never change.
Yay! We annihilated them. Who cares? Let's annihilate them.
That's really good.
Brawl. All right, so you're Trax and I'm Brawl.
Yes.
Apparently.
Come in, Mega Bum.
It's just the simplicity of
It's so good.
Mega Bum.
It's so childish.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I will rule the universe, even if I'm the only one left in the universe.
Starscream reverting to Countdown to Extinction logic.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like he's on that countdown to extinction shtick.
Gentlemen, we've been had.
A con artist knows
the
a con.
art, yeah. You'll be evaporated, perfection, if you don't help out. Spike calls out Megatron's pride. And then Megatron getting back sadistic with... He's got it in for Perceptor.
He really doesn't like him.
He's like, shatter his lenses from the inside.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He's going to shatter the lenses from the inside.
He's gonna microbot Perceptor.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
cruel,
yeah.
Some
that's
cruel
why he
irony.
doesn't. That's why he doesn't like Perceptors, because he gets under his skin.
You literally get under my skin. That's perfect. You banished Bruticus. I do not like being banished.
Interesting. He says, does he say you banished us or you banished Bruticus?
He says you banished Bruticus.
Well, I guess banishment specifically refers to the green asteroid, not
Yeah.
to the imprisonment.
But he says I as well,
Yeah, yeah.
not we.
Anyway, next segment. Favorite characters in this batch of episodes, who and why?
Ooh.
The Combaticons.
I mean, just all of the
Bruticus.
Combaticons collectively. Augie's up there.
Augie's pretty good.
Augie's a pretty good
Augie's pretty
single
good.
choice.
Yeah. If he wasn't in this group of episodes with the Combaticons, I would.
But I will say just the Combaticons as a whole. I personally love the Combaticons.
Yes.
Plus their incredible sequence in Fall of Cybertron, the game,
Oh
where
yeah.
you get to play as them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, chef's kiss. Magnificent.
All right, next Eggman. Magic slidey hand tech. Any notable gadgets Transformers pull out of their various body parts?
Dr. Terra Nova has weird energon cuffs.
Yeah, that are easily broken by scanner
by a
waves?
lamp.
By a lamp.
An inexplicable lamp.
That's just there.
The Pearl of Bahudin and the weather changing cord, just a pretty neat thingy. Pretty neat little piece of lore. Soundwave has a chest scanner.
Yep.
Megatron has a wrist comm.
Yep.
He also has a chest comm in Revenge of Bruticus.
Yep.
Blue Streak Trax and B all have wrist antennas.
Yep.
Starscream has a little claw hand that he uses to remove the asteroid.
Yeah.
And I like it was just like tweezers. It's not anything special. And he just like choomp, pulls it out. Water skis on Decepticons.
Yeah.
Personality components as a concept. It's weird that they're not like a device. They're just energon cubes.
Yeah, I feel like this is a
I think it's an animation cop out.
They forgot the term laser core, and they haven't invented sparks yet.
That's true. Energy absorbers.
Also, there's a brain unit. Death's Head kills Shockwave by crushing his brain unit. In the Marvel comics, or the UK Marvel comics.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I didn't realize that Death's Head died that way. Dang.
No, Shockwave dies that way.
Oh, Shockwave dies that way. Okay.
He dies different in the US comics, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think Scorponok kills him.
That would make sense.
I don't remember.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while since I've read it.
Shockwave's illusion gizmo doohickey thingamajig. Autobots have chest lights. Megatron has a chest comm, like we said. Onslaught's backpack.
I like how he takes his backpack off.
Yeah, it's so cool. I like seeing his character design interpreted as like a trooper, where he's got like the backpack. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I've seen his character design make
it looks like
his helmet. He's got like a cap on instead. Like an officer's cap.
Right.
Super cool. I also want to throw in here.
It's also interesting that they are they are a mix of American and Japanese machines, but they have German and British accents.
Yes, I like it. And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe that was an improvisation by the actor himself.
Really?
Was doing cool. Like accents like that.
Well, I mean, once you pass, we're almost to like 100 characters at this point, and they're reusing the same voice actors over and over. You got to start doing accents.
Exactly. But yeah, I also want to throw in here the Insecticons having their like little tube things that they are having their energy drawn into.
The energy absorbers.
Yeah, which we've seen before. It's a weirdly consistent device for pulling energy from Insecticons after they've digested it.
And speaking of consistency, let's talk about, in our next segment, favorite errors, inconsistencies, noteworthy animation, sound design, or lore mistakes. Trans-Europe Express. Trax's computer calls Wild Rider. All the Stunticons are parsed as 2 words, and then also Wild Rider is Weird Rider.
Weird Rider.
But it makes sense if Japanese animation studio did this one. Hang on, let me see who did it, if it was Toei or a different one.
Weird Rider.
Because their R's and L's have a very similar sound, so when they're translating into English, they often get mixed up. It was animated by Toei, so yeah, it makes sense that that mistake would be in there, but I just think it's kind of cool to call him Weird Rider.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider's cousin. I mentioned this while we were talking about the episode. Let me show you how a real driver drives, and then they play the same footage of Blue Streak driving. The core in the flashback is already in the golden ball when they dig it up. the first time, even though
it's
supposed to be they dig it up and it's just like encased in rock, and then they put that golden ball around it later to stop it from messing with the weather.
Yeah.
Prowl, why is he there? He's not actually there. It's just they miscolored Blue Streak.
Yeah. To be fair, I misconstrue Prowl and Blue Streak all of the time.
Cosmic Rust. Rumble pulls Starscream's leg instead of the lightning bug's wing.
Yes.
Rust, the Cosmic Rust just looks like poop. I'm sorry. It's just poo.
I don't know if that's an actual error or anything, but yeah, it does look like a certain brown substance.
Rumble, no, I'm sorry. Gears is colored like Rumble when he's spraying Lady Liberty.
Oh yeah.
Also, that's just a weird line. Minosaur has Astro Train's voice at one point. Starscream's Brigade. Blue-eyed Starscream shows up several times in this episode. Faceplate Jazz shows up in this episode. This is a pretty famous one. Memorial to Optimus Prime, who at the time of this episode has not died yet.
Yeah, that was.
Shockwave is on Earth in multiple shots, and I'm not sure if this is an error or not. It's possible that Megatron had to call in Shockwave to deal with Starscream. Also, there's a white Power Glide that looks nothing like Power Glide when he's flying in the air.
White Power Glide.
Yeah. The Revenge of Bruticus. All right, why does the space bridge take them to the prison instead of to the space bridge tower? They could have just stepped out of the space bridge tower and turned off the machine. They didn't have to fight their way through, but instead, for some reason, they're zapped into the... Now, to be fair, in War Dawn, it looks like the space bridge takes them to a different location in that episode as well as... so there is precedent for this. Maybe Shockwave's tower is not the only place that the space bridge goes, but I thought that was the idea. Anyway, Ratchet has a black helmet at one point, which reminds me of the Marvel Comics. Vortex has Onslaught's voice at one point. Cybertron computer with English text. Thanks, Shockwave. Sideswipe with Sunstreaker voice right at the end. Also, there's a hair on screen when they are lobotomizing Bruticus.
Yeah. Pretty
All
obvious.
Right, next segment. TF Wiki Go Button Trivia. It's definitely Hayden this time.
Okay. So,
what you got?
I have... Let me share it with you. So, this is more of like a concept rather than a specific like character or anything.
That's fine.
There we go. Should be there for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yes.
So, this one is... it's interesting because it usually does show up in the shows. It's never really explained in the shows, but there is a lot of interesting ways that it's been reinterpreted in some ways. Where like, okay, so what it is a shell former. So a shell former is a fandom term most often used derisively for a transformer that transforms by peeling pieces of one form to reveal the other form inside. Quite literally, the majority of the alternate mode is a shell that closes completely or close enough around the robot parts, with the robot mode having very little genuine integration of the alternate mode parts. It's also referred to as panel former. I love the example they use, which is a transformer who turns into an ammonite,
Yes.
the shelled squid, and it's literally just the two pinwheel sides of the shell are just these floating discs around this bot that
So
barely
basically, he
moves.
just curls up into a ball, and then the whole alternate mode goes around him.
It's kind of always been around.
Yeah.
For the most part with Transformers, because it's similar to Kibble, where it's just a chunk of useless stuff that isn't really well integrated with the robot form, but it perfectly fits the vehicle
Alternate
form.
mode, yeah.
It's fully sacrificing the robots aesthetic for the vehicle's aesthetic. And so usually it's like a budget cut, and it is kind of like it doesn't make for a good toy. However, it can look pretty good. Like there's Scourge is an example that they use.
Yeah, because his shell becomes like a cape for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when it starts getting used as like clothes. Like in a lot of shows and stuff,
That's how they interpret it on screen.
yeah, like Age of Extinction Crosshairs has a trench coat.
Yeah.
And it's
I
like
think that's pretty cool.
it's most of the light frame of the racing vehicle that he is.
Yeah.
Like because it's so light, it becomes a trench coat. Like that.
Yeah.
That's neat. It doesn't really look that great in execution. It's kind
Yeah.
of cool, but at the same time, it's like, there's some pretty egregious examples, such as this the Darth Vader who turns into the Death Star.
Oh, yeah.
He does not look that great. But
A lot of Beast Wars characters.
yeah. Beast Wars, I think, was like kind of where it really ramped up because you have an alternate form that's it's got to look pretty significantly organic.
Yeah.
With the robot form underneath, it can become pretty difficult to where do these like smooth panels and lines go. Well, they just kind of have to
Hang off the back.
yeah. It's similar to Kibble because it usually gets centered around the back of people.
Yeah.
What's interesting is how do you interpret this toy that has a lot of kibble and stuff? How do you interpret that into a show format? And really, when you think about it, most of the G1 cast, their iconic, like, evergreen looks for, like, Optimus and everything like that, they look nothing like their toys. Like, there's a vague semblance of what they look like. But if they were one-to-one recreation of what their toy looked like, Optimus would have very stumpy, like, T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
And, like, there is a level of interpretation that comes with these guys. And I think that's what's cool about them to me, is that you take kind of a admittedly pretty crappy looking toy, but then try to figure out how do we make this work with the rest of his character design. And I like when they try to work in actual story explanations for it. Like, the Beast Wars cast, they have these, like, they actually explain it as, like, they have organic shells. Like, the only way that they can survive is if they have inorganic wrapping around them.
Right.
So it literally
hiding
is,
inside the shell.
yeah, it's literally a shell for them.
Yeah.
And then you have stuff like Thunderwing from the IDW continuity, where he comes up with a similar thing with this organic sort of shell.
Yeah, that was to explain the Pretender shell. Though.
Yeah. And
Similar concept.
yeah, and then it wound up like cranking up his insanity and power to the max. So it's like there's a lot of good stuff that can come from it.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that, a lot of times Transformers will just kind of make the best out of what they have.
Yeah.
And it will turn into, an actual like story aspect and stuff. Now, granted, there are some pretty rough ones, such as this under 3 fella, who is literally like a Game Boy, just kind of folds one single direction, and then he turns into whatever that is. I think it's like
It's a lion head.
it's a lion head.
I think that's a McDonald's toy.
He looks like it. Yes, I believe he is.
But yeah, it's neat. Fortunately, most of the cartoons will scale back the shells or the kibble in their designs for the cartoon, just to kind of make it fit better into their silhouette. But on the toy itself, it's just a lot of parts that hang off the back and then wrap around to conceal the robot inside the vehicle mode, or most egregiously animals and boats, it seems like.
Yeah. It's a bit ugly. Thunderblast is one that comes to mind, where she is a very thin Transformer
Yeah.
with a very bulky alternate mode. So that bulk is just a gigantic backpack. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even begin to describe how much bigger that backpack is compared to Thunderblast.
A lot of the recent RC toys have been that way too.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but again, there's clever interpretations of it where like RC has these sort of vent things on her back, so sometimes that gets interpreted as a jetpack. Like, you know, I like that aspect of, you know.
I'm just trying to figure out what Gary Robocun is.
Yes.
Okay, so he's like a mascot for. He's in this list here, and he's like a mascot for some sort of Japanese ice cream. And,
interesting.
He transforms into like a popsicle, a brown popsicle.
Okay.
Apparently, he's listed as a shell former too. He's got a little Optimus Prime hat. It just says Gary on his shirt.
Gary.
Interesting.
Well, I'll be.
I learned something new. I knew about shell forming. I didn't know about Gary Kun.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. They've got a few things that I'm going to talk about in the next segment on this list too.
Nice. But yeah, shell formers. Well, not necessarily necessary evil, but a kind of a benign attachment to the Transformers franchise. You just kind of have to deal with it every once in a while.
You said benign. I thought you were going to say tumor. Which in a way, I mean, it's all this junk hanging off the back, so I guess
It's
it
a
is
benign
kind of like
tumor.
a tumor.
It's like, oh, this is Gary. Gary's fine. Okay. With that, on to our next segment.
All right. So the cliffhanger questions.
So if we have a question that we'll ask one or the other, and they have to answer by next episode. So last time, I asked Frankie, what new gimmick would you like to see in a future Transformers toy line?
Why would you do this to me? I lost sleep over this question. I was just staring at the ceiling in bed for a while, wondering, what have they not done?
Yeah.
Transformers have been around for 40 plus years. They've done every gimmick they can think of. That's why none of the new toys have gimmicks. Oh, actually, I did find out that there's a lot of gimmicks and a lot of play features in the new Cyber World series.
Hey, nice.
Which are really cool. There's even automorphing gimmicks.
Cool.
But yeah, I looked through, you know, I went on TF Wiki and I looked through the list of gimmicks, and, you know, there's just so many. At least they've done all the easy ones. I finally came up with 2 gimmicks that I don't think they've done, or at least not done the way I want them to do it.
Okay.
All right. So, first off, when we were kids, I'd always take the toys and do like this weird half transformed fan modes, weird deformed vehicle thing, and say, behold, the Cybertronian mode.
Yeah.
Well, I want a toy that is actually made to do that. And I mean, it shifts from Cybertronian mode to Cybertronian robot mode. Then you shift around a few panels and gadgets on the robot to make them look like the Earth mode robot. And that unlocks the Earth vehicle mode. You can now transform it differently. It's a different thing now that you've unlocked these new things. Now, granted, these guys would have to be giant size probably to fit all of this in, and they would have to be dedicated. It would have to be a dedicated line that could do this. It wouldn't.
Right.
There's no way that they could just take a pre-existing design and work it into that.
Yeah.
They might be able to do that with something as blocky as G1 Optimus Prime, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think it would be pretty neat, you know, like just imagine if they could somehow take like, you know, Dreamwave Cybertronian mode for Optimus Prime, where he's more like angular.
Oh, yeah.
Or like War for Cybertron Cybertronian mode, and then you transform him into Optimus Prime, right? And he looks like War for Cybertron Optimus Prime or whatever.
Right.
But then you shift a few puzzle pieces around on that. Now he looks like G1 Optimus Prime, and now he can turn into that 1980s semi-truck.
Nice.
So it's not just like a triple changer or something. It's 2 distinct vehicle modes, 2 different distinct robot modes, and you have to make the changes in robot mode, symbolizing the scanning function.
Right.
Because you also asked, when you asked that originally, is how would that tie into the story?
Yeah.
Is that, well, this is the scanning function of the robot.
Okay.
So that's, you know, they can scan different things. And, you know, what would be really neat is like if throughout the show they scan different vehicles and change into different things.
Yeah.
So then you can sell the same toy several times where they like convert back into their Cybertronian mode, and then they it's not the same toy, but you can sell the same half
Basic
of the
model,
scheme.
yeah.
So, you know, the Cybertronian mode is the same, but then they turn into different robot modes. So here's
Yeah.
Optimus Prime when he turns into an alligator. Here's Optimus Prime when he turns into a semi-truck. Here's Optimus Prime when he turns into...
Con.
I don't know why that was the first one. Now he turns into a jet or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Now he turns into a gorilla or whatever, you know. Anyway. Or maybe he turns into a truck and a monkey. But yeah, and you unlock it in the robot mode sort of thing, you know, like kind of like a cyber key thing almost, you know.
Yeah.
Now they tried something like this, and this is actually in your Shellformers list here. If you go to Trans-Scanning Bumblebee or Optimus, you'll see where they tried something like this for one of the live action movies in 2008. I think these were Japanese only. But what it is, it's not the same thing, because it's this bare bones kind of, imagine a Gundam skeleton stripped down, you know?
Yeah, that is
basic armature, and you put armor on him and he can turn into the meteor. And then you take that armor off and put the car armor on that armature. And now he looks like this horrible shell former.
Yeah, that's a lot of kibble.
You know, Bumblebee or Optimus. And I've heard that the transformation scheme is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It
it's
doesn't
simple
look
enough.
that
It just
great.
kind of folds up for the asteroid mode, but for the vehicle mode, it's horrible getting him into that vehicle mode.
Yeah.
So Optimus and Megatron have, no, I'm sorry, Optimus and Bumblebee have that, and not the greatest. The closest thing I can say that they've done successfully is Generation 1 Double Dealer, where he has two Power Masters. His base mode is the ICB missile launcher.
Yeah.
And then you plug one of the Power Masters in, and he turns into his Decepticon mode, the bird thing, right? The giant vulture.
Yes.
This was also Double Clouder in Master Force. You plug the Autobot one in, and he turns into the robot mode.
Oh, okay.
So you have to turn him into that truck mode before you can turn him into robot or into vulture mode.
Yeah.
And you have to use specific keys. So that's the closest thing they've ever done, and it looks pretty good in all three modes. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as well as it could. I mean, it's a brick in all three modes, but
Right.
you know, gimmick wise and actually being able to, you know, unlock that. So I'm just saying, take that a step further. You know, my second idea is way easier on the designers. So we get a lot of generics in Transformers that reuse body types, especially like the Seeker Jets and mini bots like Bumblebee and stuff, you know, and they get repainted as all these different characters.
Yeah.
So what if there was a make your own generic Transformers subline where you give them a kit with paint and spare pieces, so you can swap out detail parts like wings or fenders or heads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even the light piping chip would be cool if you could give them different colored eyes.
Ooh, yeah.
But it has a basic body, you know, either the basic Seeker mold or the basic Bumblebee mold or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And transformation scheme. And then you just add on the kibble or the shell or whatever to it. And then it's all in primer. And you can paint your own colors on it. And then it comes with a sticker sheet to, you know, put Autobot
Yeah.
or Decepticon or Quintesson symbol on it or whatever.
That'd be
So
pretty
it's
neat.
OC generic Transformer kits.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
perfect for army building too.
I think that would be fantastic. However, They probably won't do that one because then it takes away from the repaints, the official repaints, because when they're going to sell you, oh, I'm going to sell you this same Seeker mold 90 times as 90 different characters. They want to make 90 sales on that character. They don't want you to paint 90 different characters yourself.
I could really see this one
but it's like a kit bashing kit.
Yeah, I could see it being a bridge between the Gundam community and the Transformer community.
And we already have Gundam Transformers where they are model kits using the same sprue system and stuff as the Gundams.
Yeah, I doubt they would go for paints, but I could definitely see them going for upgrade sprues and stuff where it's like, okay, well, here's the Decepticon Seeker upgrade sprue. Yeah. It comes with like wing parts and like specific things that you attach on them and everything like that. Here's the Autobot Recon sprues, and it's got like, little specific devices like a radar scanner and a missile shoulder or something like that.
Yeah. Extra little features and stuff. Yeah. The shoulder mounted.
It's like a weird blend of Transformers, Gundam, and Warhammer or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I would like that.
I think it would be pretty neat.
Yeah. Now, how would that tie into some kind of story aspect?
You just put a lot of generics into the cartoon.
No, just call it Transformers Wars.
Yeah, Transformers Wars. I think it would be a tie-in probably with like a mobile game, a real-time strategy game or something.
I could see that, yeah.
Oh, actually, no. You said Warhammer, and that's exactly it, is they make it a Transformers board game.
Transformers war game.
Yeah.
You can even make them smaller sized so that it's easier to manage.
Make them all mini-bot size.
Yeah.
They transform, and you give them like the generic the Starscream body, but it doesn't have the wings or stuff, so you can attach the regular F-15 wings to it, or you can attach the Dirge or the thrust wings to it or something like that,
Mix
or
and match.
Cyclonus wings or something.
It helps
that
those G1 designs that are like repaints or Seekers and stuff, the different body types, they're iconic enough to like very easily like mix and match.
Right. And then you just have to build the show, because of course there's going to be a show or a comic or something, and you just build that around army building.
Make it like a scavenger oriented, like
begun the Clone Wars have.
But like you make it like scavenger oriented to where they're always like picking pieces off of each other and swapping and mixing and matching and stuff.
Well, that kind of goes back to my post-apoc Transformers idea.
The Wreckers.
It could be a continuation of what they're doing with the Junkions in the new Armorizer sort of legacy line, where you can take the Junkions apart and use them as armor for other Transformers.
That would be pretty
cool. So they're
cool.
already doing that sort of compatibility, part swapping thing on a lot of the toys in Legacy.
Yeah. It's all coming together.
Yeah, just need some paint and some light piping.
Yeah. No, I would love that.
I think that's cool.
I like that one the most. That gets my brain going.
Yeah. The other one is a cool gimmick, but like it's very intense.
That's like a $60 size Transformer.
Right.
That's
that's a novelty thing. But I think that they could probably make a whole line off of or have as a sub line in one of the lines. These generic OC generics.
Right.
But yeah.
That's so cool.
So anyway, that's my answer. Now it's time for me to ask you a question.
Ooh.
Are there any Transformer Holy Grails for you? Anything you would like to collect? Figures, merch, films? Or would it be an experience, like meeting someone that worked on the franchise, participating in an official capacity in some way, or getting dunked on by Universal Megatron?
I
love.
Well, fun thing is though, I've actually seen Universal Megatron.
I was gonna say you went to Universal.
I got that off of the bucket list.
Yeah.
He did not dunk on me, sadly.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing voice lines when I was there. Sadly. So
well, TikTok wasn't really as big then, was it?
But yeah,
that was
just
a long time
but no, those roasts are incredible. I love that it's an actual actor in the suit. It's not just pre-recorded voice lines. He's actually reacting to everything.
Yeah. Honestly, I could see you doing that as a job.
I would love to do that as a job.
You and Sarah would be great at that job.
For real.
All right. So for his real Holy Grail, we'll have to wait to find out next week.
My real Holy
Or
Grail
not next week.
is...
I wish our next episode was next week, but no, it'll be next month.
Our real Holy Grail for... the answer to that question, the real Holy Grail of the Transformers franchise, is our next section, the wrap-up. But thank you all so much for joining us and listening to our ramblings. Next time, we will be discussing Aerial Assault, Masquerade.
Masquerade, so many faces on parade.
Masquerade.
Sorry.
BOT, or BOT, and Scramble City, Mobilization, the Japanese OVA, which I have actually never seen all the way through.
Well,
other than the audio commentary.
I was about to say, at the time of this recording, these Transformers episodes are available on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel, as well as on DVD and several other streaming services, such as Tubi and Pluto, with the exception of Scramble City. There is an audio commentary version of it on one of the Transformers the Movie DVD releases from, like, 2005. But otherwise, you'll have to sail the high seas for the subbed version of this to get the actual Japanese audio and the subtitles and stuff.
Yo ho.
Fan subbed, you know. But it's super easy to find on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just put in the name.
And that's basically sailing the high
There's
seas.
several. Yeah. There's several versions of it out there. Very easy to find.
And again, we are not sponsored, nor have we been sponsored by any of these things up to this point. We just want to let you know how you can watch these delightful shows.
See you later, and until next time.
Yes, next time.
Next time is our series or season finale for season 2.
Whoa!
Because we will be wrapping up Generation 1 season 2,
and then
and subsequently season 2 of BroBots in Disguise.
Man, it's been an honor. I'm glad to have done this alongside all of you Combaticon brutes.
All right, we'll see you next episode.
All right, transform and Combaticon roll away out towards the sunset.
Combaticons merge and hit that like and subscribe button.
No.
Shut up! Shut up! If it weren't for YouTube, if it weren't for you, we would have finished this up episode hours ago.
I'm kidding.
Whatever. Anyway, have a good time. We'll see you next time. Bye.